Chapter 91. Unequal Treaties. Captain, I've already written the decryption program. Although this is only a Level 2 civilization's encryption code, even Level 1 early-stage civilizations have mastered quantum entanglement key encoding technology. This kind of encryption method that uses the quantum level requires resetting the quantum state to crack. This isn't just about how high the technology is, it requires powerful computing power and time to complete. Then tell me for sure, how long will it take to crack? Currently, there's good news. The intelligent host of this Level 2 civilization spaceship only uses a single photon quantum state protocol. We only need to reset the new quantum state. At a speed of 100 trillion calculations per second, it will probably take about a week. So, you're saying it will be successfully cracked in about 4 days? Almost. Good, tell me the moment you crack it. Okay, Captain. Chen Yu ended the conversation with the intelligent brain. He really wanted to know now. Did the Level 2 civilization spaceship really send Earth's information to its home planet? If it's true, those alien technological civilizations, according to what the intelligent brain said, will arrive on Earth in as little as 10 months. If this time, these Level 2 civilization planets send out fleets composed of attack ships, they may be equipped with high-energy laser weapons that can threaten his frigate. Although Chen Yu's No. 1 mothership is just a Level 7 civilization exploration ship. But Chen Yu still believes that even an exploration ship can annihilate these Level 2 civilization attack fleets. However, Chen Yu now emphasizes stability in everything he does. If the content of the quantum signal is confirmed, and if the Level 2 civilization fleet is really coming, he will use these 10 months to build his own Earth interstellar fleet. Not only to deal with the alien invasion problem, but he also wants to go out of the solar system to the deeper reaches of the universe. If he can find a planet with an environment similar to Earth, he might even consider migrating a portion of humanity there. Chen Yu doesn't know yet that if he can improve Earth's civilization level, after having the ability to explore interstellar space at the light-year level, and joining the Milky Way Interstellar Federation, as long as he has galaxy coins, he can even buy a planet with an environment similar to Earth. 2 days later, the United States indeed signed the compensation treaty and withdrew all military bases from Asia. The name of the signed treaty is called the Asia-America Treaty. The United States completely bowed its head to Yangtze, and the compensation in materials, converted into money, was almost 1 year's GDP for the United States. However, Yangtze gave the United States a buffer period for repayment. It's just that the materials from Universal Technology must be shipped to Yangtze at 3 million tons per day, starting from the date of signing. The signing of this treaty completely boosted the spirits of Yangtze's children. More than 100 years ago, the United States, together with the 8-Nation Alliance, invaded Yangtze. Not to mention the burning, killing, and looting, they also forced the then feudal dynasty of Yangtze to sign the Treaty of Xinzhou, which was simply humiliating and detrimental to the country. But now, more than 100 years have passed, and the situation has reversed. The United States has deeply realized what it means to reap what you sow. This fully confirms the words of a great man: only strong strength can give a country the right to speak and make other countries respect you. And you must have the strength to dominate the world to make the world more peaceful. After the United States signed the unequal treaty, they could only leave dejectedly. They did not dare to violate the contents of the treaty. But just as the United States was withdrawing all its military bases in Asia, 2 Asian countries jumped out and wailed on their knees. These 2 countries can only be the Bangsa country and the Sakura country, of course. They regard the United States as their father, and they have no sovereignty of their own. The people of Bangsa country took to the streets, crying and shouting for the American soldiers not to leave, saying that their girls were tender and could provide services to the soldiers for free. The people of Sakura country were even more perverted, and even their prime minister knelt down in public to plead with the American soldiers to stay. The people took to the streets crying and shouting that without the protection of the American soldiers, they would be annexed by Yangtze. Yangtze officials urgently refuted the rumors, saying that Yangtze is a peace-loving country and is not interested in the land of Bangsa country and Sakura country. Just as Chen Yu was comfortable in his gentle embrace, the doorbell rang. Xiao Jiazi got up and went to open the door with light steps. Suro was a little envious when she saw that Xiao Jiazi opened the door, and she felt a little sour in her heart. Thinking that Chen Yu and Xiao Jiazi were living together day and night, they must have developed feelings for each other. She probably had no chance, but she came today for other things. Suro walked into the villa from the door, with a worried look on her face. Entering the living room, Chen Yu saw that her expression was not right, so he asked with concern. Xiao Rou, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so aggrieved? Su Rou sat on the sofa, and Chen Yu sat down next to Su Rou with a thud, very close. Being with robots every day, he can only satisfy his cravings verbally. When Chen Yu saw Su Rou, he really wanted to taste real flesh. Oh, actually, I didn't come today for anything important. It's just that the company has encountered some trouble recently. Su Rou didn't want to tell Chen Yu about this trivial matter. She wanted to solve it herself. But now, the situation is going more and more in a direction she didn't expect. Oh! What trouble? The products of our universal technology are now in short supply all over the world. How could we encounter trouble? Su Rou frowned her beautiful eyebrows and said helplessly. Now, several mainstream new energy vehicle manufacturers in China are said to have secretly formed an anti-universal alliance. Chen Yu was curious. Anti-universal alliance? Then what? We don't have enough evidence, but this is news that some small websites have revealed. I didn't pay attention to it at first. After all, our Universal Motors has such a great range and sales have always been booming, but just after this so-called anti-universal alliance was established, negative news about our Universal Motors frequently appeared on the internet, such as a sharp increase in the accident mortality rate, cases of car spontaneous combustion and even explosions, and some design defects. Chen Yu narrowed his eyes instantly after listening to what Su Rou said. It seems that someone is really trying to sabotage his company behind his back. The safety of Universal Motors is still quite good. In collision tests, it can at least rank at the forefront of all new energy vehicles. As for vehicle spontaneous combustion, that's even more nonsense. Universal Technologies' deuterium-ion batteries require very harsh conditions to spontaneously combust or explode. Ordinary impacts, punctures, and squeezing will not cause the deuterium-ion battery to spontaneously combust. Unless someone has tampered with the battery, it will cause the battery to explode or spontaneously combust. Xiao Rou, how long has this been happening? Chapter 92. Su Rou said somewhat embarrassedly. Those negative information have been around for a while now. Why didn't you tell me sooner that the company was encountering this kind of problem? At first, I wanted to take legal action and sue those rumor mongers. I also contacted major mainstream media to delete the posts. But later, these negative information became more and more numerous. There were even customers holding banners at some auto shows to defend their rights, which greatly damaged the reputation of our global automotive. Chen Yu patted Su Rou on the back, then took her tender little hand and comforted her. Xiao Rou, don't worry. I think we are indeed being targeted. In the domestic automotive industry, there has always been infighting and mutual slander between major car companies. This is also the low-level quality of many businessmen in Yangzhou. Sometimes they don't unite to target foreign companies, but instead attack internal compatriot companies. These kinds of businessmen are truly detestable. Then what should we do? We don't have any evidence at all. Leave this matter to me. I will handle it properly. Chen Yu, I'm sorry. It's all due to my poor management that the company's reputation has been damaged. Chen Yu took the opportunity to pull Su Rou into his arms. Su Rou obediently looked like she was seeking comfort. All right, it's okay. It's just a small matter. I'll solve it for you. Wu, thank you, Chen Yu. Xiao Jiazi, standing to the side, looked at this dog couple with a disgusted and jealous expression. Xiao Rou, why don't you just stay tonight? Su Rou's face instantly turned red. She was a little nervous. Was Chen Yu hinting at her? Chen Yu, that might not be a good idea. Xiao Jiazi might misunderstand. After Su Rou finished speaking, she seemed to remember something and broke away from Chen Yu's embrace, keeping a dozen centimeters away from Chen Yu. Chen Yu was speechless. Su Rou clearly misunderstood him and Xiao Jiazi. Xiao Rou, what you're thinking isn't the case between me and Xiao Jiazi. She's just a tool person. But thinking of Xiao Jiazi's address for Chen Yu, master, which didn't sound proper at all, it turned out that this was Chen Yu's special hobby. Chen Yu, you are indeed very successful and can have countless women, but I really can't accept you like this. I'll leave first. Contact me if there's anything else at the company. Su Rou covered her mouth and stormed out. Chen Yu looked at this scene, and felt a sense of déjà vu. It seemed that before, when he and Su Rou were about to break through the window paper, Xiao Jiazi came out to make trouble. In the end, Suro ran away. Chen Yu looked at Xiao Jiazi, who had an innocent and aggrieved expression. Humph, it's you again who ruined my good deeds. Come here, and see if I don't teach you a lesson. Xiao Jiazi said aggrievedly. Master, this time I just stood aside and didn't do anything. But if Master wants to punish me, I won't resist. Damn, this time I'm really going to teach you a lesson. Watch me spank your butt red. Then, the sound of slaps and a young girl's coquettish begging for mercy could be heard in the villa. Ouch, Master, don't hit me anymore. Xiao Jiazi knows she was wrong. After a while of tossing and turning, Chen Yu lay back on the sofa. He fantasized about when he could truly be with beauties like Suro or Xiaoyueshu. After fantasizing for a while, Chen Yu remembered what Suro said today, the so-called alliance that was targeting and smearing global automotive. Hehe, since you dare to target my company, then be prepared to be wiped out. Chen Yu didn't take these companies seriously. Now he has many methods to deal with that alliance. Just as Chen Yu was about to ask the intelligent brain to investigate this hater alliance, the intelligent brain's voice sounded in Chen Yu's mind first. Captain, the intelligent host of the Level 2 civilization spaceship has been successfully cracked. Chen Yu was immediately excited and threw the matter of investigating the hater alliance to the back of his mind. Really? Tell me quickly, what was the content of the quantum communications from the previous 2 times? Captain, I have already retrieved and viewed the 2 communications from the records inside the host. I have a very unfortunate result to tell you. Chen Yu's heart skipped a beat. Intelligent brain, tell me quickly, have we already been discovered? You are right. From the communication content I retrieved, I saw that the Level 2 civilization spaceship has sent out comprehensive information about Earth, including the population, planet size composition, mineral types, star system stability, and its location in the Milky Way. You mean to say that all the information about Earth has already been grasped by the aliens? Yes, and then I found a quantum communication content recently received by the spaceship in the spaceship's intelligent host. It was a confirmation message sent from the spaceship's home planet. That is to say, this Level 2 civilization has determined that it will come to Earth. Chen Yu's guess finally became a reality. As expected, Earth has been exposed, and aliens may be on their way. Intelligent brain, are you confident in dealing with this Level 2 civilization? After cracking the intelligent host of this Level 2 civilization spaceship this time, I have basically understood their current level of technology. They belong to a mid to late Level 2 civilization. They can already convert high-energy quanta in stellar energy for attacks. If they send a Level 2 civilization star destroyer with planet-destroying capabilities, it may pose a threat to our current only frigate. If we use the dark matter cannon on the number 1 mothership, we should not be afraid of these Level 2 civilization spaceships. However, we must also beware of the other side's excessive numbers. After all, I am just an exploration ship with limited combat power. Previously, there were usually powerful star destroyers protecting me. Also, we do not have an advantage in speed. If we drag the battle into interstellar space, although the other side's engine is a low-energy warp engine, it can at least travel faster than light, while our warp engine is broken. Chen Yu frowned. The current situation is that he has the number 1 mothership plus 30 frigates. If he wants to win against the Level 2 civilization fleet that is about to arrive, he is still very confident. But there are also variables, such as the other side's star destroyers being too numerous. Or dragging the battlefield into interstellar space, where our speed cannot keep up with the other side, which may cause a certain disadvantage in the battle. Suddenly, Chen Yu thought of a problem. Chapter 93. Chen Yu already knew the content of the quantum signal sent back by the Level 2 civilization before. It is now confirmed that the Level 2 civilization will send a colonial fleet to Earth. However, Chen Yu thought of a problem, since his number 1 mothership's warp engine was broken. Could he wait for the Level 2 civilization's colonial fleet to arrive, capture them, and then remove the warp engines from their battleships? Brain, I have a question for you. Do you think we can get their warp engines from the Level 2 civilization's colonial fleet? Captain, your idea is great. I thought of it too. If we can capture their mothership this time, I can remove its warp engine and temporarily install it on the number 1 mothership to achieve faster than light travel. The frigates and landing ships on Chen Yu's mothership cannot travel at the speed of light. That way, we can have about 300 times the speed of light and go near the nearest black hole to Earth to find materials to repair the Level 7 civilization's warp engine. The raw materials for repairing the warp engine are near the black hole. Yes, let me tell you about the working principle of the warp engine first. To achieve faster than light travel, you need to tear space apart, which is equivalent to integrating the spaceship into another dimension. The warp engine uses the curvature of space to create a warp bubble around the spaceship by using antimatter propulsion. This warp bubble causes the space in front of the spaceship to be compressed, while the space behind is stretched. The spaceship itself is in this relatively static warp bubble. Through the continuous contraction and stretching of space, the spaceship achieves faster than light flight. And the fuel of the warp engine is a kind of negative energy exotic matter, which is a kind of dark matter, a substance with negative mass and internal energy. It only exists near the Roche limit of black holes, because only celestial bodies with extremely strong gravity like black holes can distort spacetime and produce this dark matter. As long as we have this key raw material, repairing the level 7 civilization's warp engine will be basically half done. Chen Yu still knew about black holes, the most terrifying existence in the universe. If you find a black hole in the vast universe, that's not a good thing. Moreover, the so-called exotic antimatter raw material is still near the Roche limit of the black hole. If you are not careful and fall into the black hole, it will be a catastrophe, an unimaginable horror. Brain, will it be very dangerous to collect this raw material around the black hole? If we fall within the Roche limit of the black hole, I'm afraid I will become the first Earthling to see the inside of a black hole. There is indeed some danger, but if we are fully prepared and choose a smaller, less violent black hole, we should be able to collect the raw materials smoothly. Chen Yu was speechless, there really was danger. Okay, we'll talk about it later anyway. The nearest black hole to Earth is said to be thousands of light years away. Captain, your Earth data is wrong. According to the number 1 mothership's radio receiver and gravitational wave detector, I have already detected high-energy radiation emitted by a black hole nearest to Earth. It is only about 200 light years away from us. Chen Yu was shocked. Brain, I have read books, don't lie to me. After so many years of observation by our Earth scientists, the conclusion is that the nearest black hole to us is not Gaia BH1, which is 1,500 light years away. How can you suddenly say that there is a black hole so close to us at 200 light years? Your Earth's observation technology is nowhere near as good as the gravitational wave detector on the number 1 mothership. However, this black hole, which is 200 light years away, is only a small black hole with 120 times the mass of the Sun, but as long as it is a black hole, it has the exotic antimatter raw material we need. Chen Yu curled his lips, that's true, even if it's small, it's still a black hole. However, this directly overturned the current research on black holes by Earth scientists. It turns out that there is a black hole so close to us. Chen Yu felt a little scared just thinking about it. Okay, we have 10 months. Now that we have supplies from the United States, we will try to complete the construction of the first homeworld-class spaceship as soon as possible. We also need to build a fleet of attack ships, all equipped with high-energy quantum laser cannons. When those level 2 civilization fleets arrive, I will catch them off guard. Okay, Captain, as long as you have enough raw materials, these are not problems. Chen Yu's current homeworld-class spaceship is already 1/3 constructed, and now he has sufficient raw materials. Chen Yu believed that if he was given another 2 months, all the parts of the first homeworld-class spaceship would be manufactured. At the same time, the space elevator is also being built simultaneously. In at most 3 months, the parts of the first homeworld-class spaceship can be transported to near-Earth orbit through the space elevator to complete assembly. In the next 7 months, Chen Yu can use the powerful loading capacity of the homeworld-class spaceship to mine more raw materials between the planets in the solar system and build a powerful attack fleet to guard the Earth. At this moment, 270 light-years away, at the spaceport of Messeras, a Level 2 civilization homeworld-class colonial ship is undergoing final supply replenishment. In the spaceship's command room, stood a man wearing a golden swallow-tailed coat, his face similar to that of Earthlings. However, his ears were pointed, similar to the elves in Earthlings anime. He was standing in front of the glass in the command room, gazing at the vast and boundless starry sky. The position he was looking at was the direction of the Earth's star field. A life planet worth 20 billion galaxy credits, with only a level 0.68 civilization level, it seems that this mission will be very simple. The swallow-tailed coat man muttered to himself. At this moment, a uniformed soldier walked into the command room and respectfully stepped forward. Captain Sohee, our colonial mothership's supplies have been completed. This time, we have a total of 50 star destroyers, 20 landing ships, and 10 exploration ships, a total of 1,500 warriors. The spaceship's energy has been replenished, the required materials are ready, and we are ready to depart at any time. Okay, send the final departure notice to the space tower. We will depart immediately. Yes, Captain Sohi. Subsequently, a huge homeworld-class colonial mothership slowly crept towards the dark interstellar space. Activate the warp engine, enter the dimensional space, and travel at faster than light speed. With Sohi's order, this homeworld-class colonial mothership, which was about 10 kilometers long and equivalent to a city, a ripple spread around, and then quickly disappeared into space, flying towards Earth at nearly 300 times the speed of light. Chapter 94. Earth, Huanyu Technology. Today, Chen Yu was investigating which car companies were colluding to smear his Huanyu motors. Chen Yu opened his computer and searched for the keyword Huanyu motors. Sure enough, whether it was search engines or major short video platforms, a large number of smear videos of Huanyu motors appeared. Many videos contained accident footage of Huanyu motors. It looked very disturbing. Chen Yu frowned. This was indeed targeting his company. Regardless of the car, if you sincerely search for accident videos of that car, you can find a lot. Even for Rolls-Royce, you can find many accident videos. Now, these videos are being widely spread by people with ulterior motives, and marketing accounts are fueling the fire, which makes Chen Yu furious. Damn it! These despicable people can't outsell my cars, so they use such despicable means. Humph, I'll see who's behind this. Intelligent brain, investigate for me which car companies have been supporting these rumor-mongering marketing accounts recently. Captain, I'll help you investigate this. On the other side of the Earth, in the underground secret conference room of the Fort Detrick bioweapons base in the United States. This place is isolated from all interrogation equipment and signals. In the conference room were Harrison, the acting president of the United States, and Schneider, the Secretary of Defense. Rogers, the Minister of Science and Technology, the director of the Bioweapons Base Research Institute, and several representatives of congressional consortia were also present. This team of only 10 people represents the highest core of power in the United States today. Harrison said with a solemn expression. Are we really going to take this step? Everyone in the conference room had serious expressions. They were discussing a shocking plan. It was a plan they had been researching for decades, even longer than researching the wreckage of alien spaceships. Soros, the director of the Fort Detrick Bioweapons Research Institute, stood up and said, "The United States is now facing the greatest crisis in its 200-year history. If we allow Yangtze to rise, the United States will become increasingly weakened. When the solar cataclysm arrives, perhaps only a very small number of us will survive. Are you willing to accept this?" The crowd was silent. None of them were willing to accept it. The United States was originally the most powerful country in the world. Even if the apocalypse came, they should be the race with the most survivors. But now, they have to compensate Yangtze and Huanyu technology with huge amounts of resources. This prevents them from building more shelters. The competition for resources now is actually equivalent to the competition for future living space, resources, and population size. The United States, as the most powerful country in the past century, has always been arrogant. This time, they were hit hard by Yangtze and Huanyu technology, damaging their national foundation. They were unwilling. The ambition of a world hegemon did not allow them to fail continuously. Rogers stood up and said, "I agree with this plan. We have spent decades collecting the genetic code of the East Slavic race from the White Bear country, and we have also studied the genetic map of the Yangtze people for decades." Several representatives of the congressional consortia also stood up and expressed their agreement, as this was related to the life and death of the United States. Harrison was exhausted. The things she had encountered during her tenure were indeed things that the United States had never encountered in its 200-year history. Supporting her head, she said wearily, "Are we really going to exterminate a race like this? They are also human beings." Rogers, Schneider, and Soros stood up at the same time. Rogers, "Madam President, are you showing a woman's kindness? Yangtze has 1.4 billion people. We used various public intellectuals and media to fool them into not eating meat, reducing emissions, and slowing down development, putting the hat of global warming on them, just to make them use less of the Earth's resources, so that we can plunder these resources. Now, at the most critical moment, the better those Yangtze people live, the worse we will live. Schneider, that's right. We have been vigilant against this powerful opponent for decades. They used their wits to make us confront the White Bear Country. Now that the White Bear Country has declined, they have taken the opportunity to rise. If we had known this would happen, we should have destroyed them decades ago. Soros, Madam President, the results of our decades of research are now the opportunity to be put to use. If 90% of the Yangtze people die in the next 30 years, then we will undoubtedly rule the world. Those materials compensated to Yangtze will be returned bit by bit. We can even turn their land into American territory, and their shelters will also be our shelters. Rogers, Schneider, and Soros all showed crazy expressions on their faces. It seemed that the lives of billions of Yangtze people were not worth mentioning in their eyes. This kind of terrifying thinking that obliterates humanity is simply devastating to one's values. However, the proposals of these three people have received unanimous support from the representatives of the American Congressional Consortium. Sometimes, the seemingly glamorous, gentlemanly, and polite American elite leaders may be crazy demons in their hearts who regard human life as worthless. When Harrison took office, she thought she could lead the United States to glory. She never thought that she would become the executioner of billions of people. As a woman, she was indeed not as ruthless as these men present. However, being in her position, she could only do this. After all, she herself was an American. Harrison stood up and said in a trembling voice, "Okay, I agree to the plan to release gene weapons against the Yangtze people. Their demise will allow the people of my great America to survive the future apocalyptic crisis. Take action." Chapter 95. While Chen Yu was at the company investigating which car companies were smearing Huanyu motors, he had no idea about what was brewing on the other side of the earth in America. A plan of extermination targeting the Yangtze people was being concocted. Inside Huanyu Technology. "Captain, I have already found out which car companies are targeting your Huanyu motors." "Oh. Tell me, I want to see if they still want to be in this industry." "Currently, there are a total of 6 other car companies targeting Huanyu motors. They are Jihu Motors, Link Motors, Dream Motors, Johe Motors, as well as Tesla Motors and Zongda Motors." Chen Yu frowned. This was truly a strong alliance, all well-known car companies. There were even international giants like Tesla and Zongda Motors. Hehe, what virtues and abilities does my Huanyu Motors possess? I think these car companies don't need to stay in Yangtze. If I remember correctly, Jihu Motors, Link Motors, Dream Motors, and Johe Motors, these 4 domestic new energy car companies, should all be using batteries provided by our Huanyu Technology and BID Auto's joint venture factory, right? I didn't expect them to bite the hand that feeds them and smear me. Do they think this will increase their sales? What idiots! Chen Yu took out his phone and directly called Wang Chuanjun, the chairman of BID Auto. The phone only rang twice before being answered, and Wang Chuanjun's hearty laughter came from inside. "Haha, Brother Chen, why are you willing to call me?" "Chairman Wang, recently my little brother's Huanyu Motors is having a miserable time." Of course, Wang Chuanjun knew about the recent online bullying that Huanyu Motors was suffering. "Brother Chen, according to my experience, you are being targeted. When our BID Auto was #1 in sales, negative news never stopped. After investigation, those marketing accounts all had the shadows of other car companies behind them. I even offered a reward of 5 million to netizens to provide clues and brought down a large group of trolls. Do you want to learn from that?" Chen Yu didn't think much of Wang Chuanjun's method. He had the intelligent brain and didn't need to offer rewards to netizens to find clues. "Chairman Wang, actually, I have already found out which car companies are targeting me, but don't be surprised when I say it." Wang Chuanjun became interested. "Tell me quickly, if this old brother can help, I will definitely help you." "Chairman Wang, you are thinking too simply. If our sales decline, their sales may increase. So, I will leave these 4 car companies to you. From now on, stop providing them with our deuterium-ion batteries. I will compensate for the breach of contract. I gave them a chance to survive, but they didn't cherish it." Wang Chuanjun sighed. "Alas, it is indeed their fault. I will terminate cooperation with them, but we will also lose a large order. Hehe, it is like this in the short term. Over time, our 2 companies' cars will completely swallow their market." Yes, Brother Chen, following you, big brother, is really the opportunity of a lifetime. However, how are you going to deal with the remaining Tesla and Zongda motors? Tesla relies on its first-mover brand advantage. Even if it only has a few hundred kilometers of range, some people who admire foreign goods are willing to buy it. As for Zongda Motors' fuel vehicles, they also have a certain market in Yangtze. These two are really not easy to deal with. Does Brother Chen have a way? Wang Chuanjun thought for a while and said in a somewhat sinister tone. Or, let's use their own methods to deal with them. When I was fighting fiercely with those domestic car companies before, I also raised a group of water armies. Look, why don't we also learn from their shameless ways? Chen Yu fell into thought. Using the same method to smear those two car companies was indeed a very satisfying method. But Chen Yu didn't want to do that. With his current abilities, he should be able to find other ways. Brother Wang, you only need to help me deal with those 4 domestic car companies. I will solve the remaining Tesla and Zongda motors myself. Okay, brother, I will definitely handle it properly for you, and guarantee that they will go bankrupt this year. Okay, thank you. After hanging up the phone with Wang Chuanjun, Chen Yu began to think about how to kill these 2 foreign car companies. These 2 car companies once earned countless amounts of money in Yangtze. Back then, an ordinary Zongda Magotan would sell for 2 to 300,000. If it weren't for the rise of domestic cars, they would still be reaping the pockets of the Chinese people. Now it was time to drive them out of the Yangtze market. Chen Yu's first step now was to restore the image of Huanyu Motors. Intelligent brain, collect all the secret transactions, transfers, chat records, videos, etc., of those 6 car companies colluding with marketing accounts, and those car reviewers who spread rumors for money. I want to expose them, restore the image of our Huanyu Motors, and also let them fall into the abyss of eternal doom. Okay, Captain, I have already collected some of these evidences. Next, I will monitor some important car review accounts, as well as the mobile phones of the heads of those car companies. Once they have a new move, it will be recorded by me. Good. Just after Chen Yu finished instructing the intelligent brain, the phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Chen Yu answered, and a full-bodied voice came from inside. Chen Yu, I am Li Zhenfeng. Chen Yu was surprised. This was a big shot, the Minister of Economic Affairs, and Prime Minister, actually calling him. Chen Yu said respectfully. Minister Li, so it's you. I don't know if you are calling me, is there any instruction? Chen Yu, I heard that recently your Huanyu Motors has been widely slandered online. The official is preparing to help you quell this public opinion storm. Chen Yu had also thought about using the power of the official to delete all these rumors and slanders. However, this could not completely subvert these slanders. What Chen Yu wanted to do was to find evidence of the slander against his company, to use violence to control violence, and to reverse public opinion. In this way, the more fiercely you were scolded before, the deeper people's goodwill towards you would be after the reversal. It could also make more people remember Huanyu Motors, and sales would usher in explosive growth. So Chen Yu refused. Minister Li, thank you for your kindness. Actually, I already have a way to deal with this matter, so the official doesn't need to interfere. Li Zhenfeng said with a smile. Ha ha ha, as expected of you, good, you can solve this matter yourself. If you need the country's help, we will do our part. Okay, Minister Li, thank you. After ending the call with Li Zhenfeng, Chen Yu smiled faintly. His current strength was such that even the country would come to win him over. Recalling a few months ago, he was still a loser who almost committed suicide. Now he was a super big shot who could control the international situation. All of this was given by the alien spaceship. Thinking of the first time he got the alien spaceship, he wanted to sell it. Now thinking about it, it was really ridiculous, truly an unpromising loser. After Chen Yu instructed how to punish these troll car companies, he left Huanyu Technology and went straight to Huanyu Science and Technology Park. Currently, tens of thousands of robots here are in full swing building a home-class spacecraft and a space elevator. The current space elevator has already built a super large bottom base, which is an important component connecting the polymer synthetic steel cable. When this is completed, Chen Yu will build a space station in space, and then use polymer steel cables to connect to the base on the ground, using the centrifugal force of the Earth's rotation to make the space elevator run stably. Of course, the space station in space also needs to be equipped with propulsion devices. If heavy objects are transported, it may cause uneven force up and down. Therefore, the space station suspended in space must have a propulsion device to neutralize the weight of the transported goods. Chen Yu also came to the 300-meter underground shelter base. Here, the lights were shining brightly, like daylight. The space had been reclaimed very huge. Chen Yu could hardly see the end on the suspended elevator. In the future, this will be an underground city, with sunlight simulated by controllable nuclear fusion at the top. An internal ecological cycle system will be built, transplanting trees, flowers, plants, animals, and insects, and sustainable arable land will also be built to plant food crops. The city's water source will use a recycling system. The top can collect water molecules in the air. When a certain amount is gathered, it will simulate the process of natural rain. This set of ecological cycle system is actually similar in the home-class spacecraft. It's just that the home-class spacecraft will be more refined and will be divided into many layers. After Chen Yu finished his inspection, he took the landing ship straight to the Moon No. 1 mothership. He was going to take advantage of this time to do something important. Chapter 96. Chen Yu rode the landing craft and arrived inside Lunar Mothership No. 1. His main reason for coming this time was due to his recent fitness training. Chen Yu discovered that his body had been strengthened to a critical point. This should be due to the primary genetic modification fluid he injected previously. Arriving at the biochemical testing laboratory of Mothership No. 1, Chen Yu lay on a glowing treatment platform. Intelligent brain, help me check my current physical condition. I feel like I've become terrifyingly strong lately. Okay, Captain, I will check for you now. Checking. A beam of light shone on Chen Yu from above, performing a comprehensive check on him. Check successful. Captain, after injecting the primary genetic modification fluid, and after this period of training, your body has been further strengthened, and you have successfully entered the first level of interstellar life form. Chen Yu was surprised. Intelligent brain, what is a first-level interstellar life form? The so-called first-level interstellar life form is a common low-level life form in the universe. Its main characteristic is that the body has been strengthened to a certain extent, such as strength, reaction speed, and the ability to survive in harsh environments. I feel like my body is full of power, enough to beat a cow to death. And this is just a low-level life form? How powerful would a high-level life form be? Interstellar life forms are mainly divided into 9 levels. Levels 1 to 3 are low-level life forms, levels 4 to 6 are mid-level life forms, and levels 7 to 9 are high-level life forms. What are the differences between them? Of course, there are huge differences, almost like heaven and earth. Generally, the higher the level of a life form, the higher the level of civilization it belongs to. Its own strength and ability to adapt to the harsh environment of the universe are also higher. Moreover, advanced civilizations can better develop higher-level genetic potions to stimulate the potential of life forms. So, if I want to improve my life level, I need to inject advanced genetic potions, right? Yes, you have only injected the primary genetic modification fluid of our level 7 civilization. At most, it can only allow you to successfully enter the 3rd level of interstellar life form. If you want to continue to improve your life level, you must unlock new permissions. If you enter the 3rd level of interstellar life form, your body will undergo a sublimation, approaching a mid-level life form. The main change is that you will be able to survive in outer space. By absorbing cosmic bright energy, you can survive in space for a long time, and releasing bright energy for attacks will also be strengthened again. As for entering the 4th level of life form, which is above the mid-level life form, you can absorb the dark energy in the dark matter of the universe. Dark energy accounts for 73% of the total mass of the universe, so mid and high-level life forms are powerful life forms in the universe. They have super survival abilities, can adapt to the environments of many harsh planets, and also have powerful combat capabilities, similar to the super scions in your Earth animation. They also have long lifespans. According to the speculation of our level 7 civilization scientists, those level 8, 9, and 10 civilization lives should be high-dimensional lives that have broken through the 9th level of life. The abilities they possess are infinitely close to God. However, in the universe, such life forms have not been discovered yet. Perhaps they are already observing us in another dimension. After Chen Yu listened, his eyes were already shining with light, cosmic high-level life form. Powerful strength, able to survive in space, and a long lifespan, it's really attractive. Okay, intelligent brain, I must become a high-level life form. I will repair the No. 1 mothership's warp drive engine. I'm so looking forward to the deep space of the universe. Chen Yu suddenly thought of a question. Intelligent brain, isn't the primary genetic modification fluid I injected supposed to allow me to smoothly enter the third level of interstellar life form? How come I feel like my body has already reached a critical point, and no matter how I train, I feel like I can't improve? Captain, this is because the second level of interstellar life form needs to initially absorb cosmic bright energy. Your own comprehension is not enough, and you cannot sense that energy, so no matter how you train, you will be stuck at this bottleneck. Then how do I sense cosmic bright energy? I can feel the heat when I bask in the sun? Isn't that sensing it? You can only sense it if you can absorb the sun's energy. Feeling the heat is a biological instinct. Chen Yu was speechless. The intelligent brain didn't say how to sense and absorb it. Chen Yu rode the landing craft and arrived at the front of the moon. Here he could see the sun. He squatted in the command room, facing the sun, carefully feeling the changes in his body. However, after a few hours passed, Chen Yu was speechless. Apart from feeling hot, he didn't feel anything else. Damn! Intelligent brain, are you teasing me? Captain, the degree of brain development of you Earthlings is only about 3%. In the past few months, the brainwave enhancement program I implanted in you has increased your brain development by 0.47%, reaching 3.47%, but you are still a low-level civilized life. It is indeed a bit difficult to comprehend the absorption of cosmic bright energy. When your brain development reaches 4%, you may be able to comprehend how to absorb cosmic bright energy. Chen Yu really wanted to curse. Wasn't the intelligent brain indirectly saying that he was stupid and lacked intelligence? But Chen Yu couldn't refute it. The intellectual level of the entire human race was plainly displayed here. Okay, I will work hard to exercise my intelligence. The intelligent brain had previously told him that participating in high-tech research and learning could improve intelligence and brain development. However, Chen Yu had been very dependent on the intelligent brain in the past few months, and he was unwilling to learn many things, which led to his slow brain development. Intelligent brain, starting tomorrow, you will teach me your planet's mathematics, physics, and chemistry. I want to study hard. Captain, you can't get fat with just one bite. You haven't even figured out the math, physics, and chemistry of your Earth yet. I suggest you start with the knowledge from your universities. Damn it! Chen Yu was quite depressed. Chapter 97. Chen Yu cursed. It seems the philosopher was right, learning makes people powerful. I didn't expect to get such a cheat-like artifact as an alien spaceship. I still need to study hard to improve myself, and the key is that learning is only the most basic step to improvement. Indeed, why are the humans of advanced civilizations so advanced? They also achieved their power through long periods of learning. Chen Yu took the landing craft back to Earth, and by the way, brought 3 primary gene modification fluids for his parents and sister. This is within Chen Yu's authority to obtain, but the quantity is not much now. Although he doesn't expect his parents and sister to become very powerful. But a primary gene modification fluid can make them healthy and strong, and the most important thing is that their lifespan can be greatly extended. Now that he has become successful, Chen Yu will not forget his family, even with the impending solar crisis. The quality of life of his family will not be affected, and may even be better. By then, Chen Yu will be the master of the lives of all mankind. After Chen Yu returned to Earth, he immediately devoted himself to learning. His brain domain development has increased by 0.47% compared to normal Earthlings. Don't underestimate this little improvement. The entire human race's brain domain development is only 3%. Chen Yu's 0.47% increase is equivalent to an increase of more than 10% in the intelligence of the human race. It's almost the same as Einstein's wisdom, so Chen Yu's learning ability is now very strong. After a week of high-intensity learning, following the intelligent brain to study some of the technologies of spaceship construction, Chen Yu's brain domain has improved by leaps and bounds, and has now reached 3.88%. Chen Yu feels that the more he learns, the clearer his mind becomes, and the more agile his thinking. A new day. In the morning, Chen Yu sat in the garden as usual, basking in the sun and feeling the cosmic bright energy. As his brain domain improves, his comprehension of energy becomes more profound. Chen Yu closed his eyes and carefully felt the feeling of the sunlight shining on his body. Suddenly, he felt a trace of strangeness. That energy was not heat, but a kind of bright energy. Chen Yu was ecstatic in his heart. Was he about to comprehend the essence of cosmic bright energy? Chen Yu calmed down and felt again, and then he felt more and more bright energy entering his body. So this is absorbing cosmic bright energy, haha, I succeeded. Chen Yu was already ecstatic in his heart. After absorbing for most of the morning, Chen Yu felt that his body was full, and his body could no longer absorb these energies. Chen Yu stood up and felt refreshed. He clenched his fists, his body full of explosive power. This feeling is so great. While Chen Yu was excited, the voice of the intelligent brain appeared in Chen Yu's mind. Captain, congratulations, the primary gene modification fluid you injected is from our level 7 civilization. As long as you understand how to absorb cosmic bright energy, the efficiency of your body's modified genes in converting these energies will be very high, and your life level will rapidly improve. Haha, good. Captain, I have another message. In the past few days, I have collected evidence of those car companies that smeared Huanya Motors. You can now take action against them. Then let's begin. In almost a few days, the whole world saw these news and videos. The 4 domestic car companies, including foreign brands Tesla and Volkswagen, were collectively condemned by netizens. Everyone scolded them for having no bottom line and using unscrupulous means. On the contrary, Huanya Motors took the opportunity to launch a brand new safety collision test, battery extrusion, puncture and other tests to prove the safety of the vehicle. It has received unanimous praise from people, and Huanya Motors has once again become popular, and the number of orders has increased sharply. As for the domestic Jihu Motors, Link Motors, Dream Motors, and Johe Motors, these manufacturers that smeared Huanya Motors, their sales plummeted due to the spray, and coupled with the battery being cut off, the battery life could not keep up. Compared with Huanya Motors, they were beaten in all aspects. This directly led to these 4 car companies facing bankruptcy. Lu Xiang of Dream Motors quickly came to Huanya Technology, wanting to apologize to Chen Yu, but he didn't even see Chen Yu. Suro directly dismissed him. Chen Yu will never forgive this kind of villain who stumbles behind his back. The fate waiting for these car companies is only to disappear in this cruel competition. As for Tesla and Volkswagen, their sales have been directly cut in half, and then the 2 car companies closed a large area of forest stores and production lines. Gradual decline is destined. As for when they will withdraw from the Yangtze market, it is estimated that it will be within a year. While Chen Yu was studying, basking in the sun, improving his brain domain, and absorbing cosmic bright energy every day. In the American Biological Weapons Research Base, they have already begun to act. This virus can be spread through airborne droplets, has a long incubation period, and is highly contagious during the incubation period. This directly leads to the particularly widespread of this virus. Moreover, after the incubation period ends, the disease will rapidly deteriorate. It will take people's lives in just a few days. At that time, treatment is basically ineffective, and the mortality rate is extremely high. This kind of dehumanizing plan is simply outrageous, and the key is that it is only aimed at one race in Yangtze. The Yangtze international students arranged by the United States, after arriving in China, acted separately. They don't know that they carry a targeted virus that is aimed at the extermination of the Yangtze race. One by one, they happily went to various parts of Yangtze to conduct their so-called research. These people, wherever they go, people who have been in contact with them will be infected. Then the infected people will continue to infect other people. The long incubation period of the targeted virus further contributes to the widespread spread. Chen Yu stayed at home for another week. He strictly demanded himself every day, learning all kinds of knowledge and trying to improve his brain domain as much as possible. Now Chen Yu's brain domain development has reached 4.03%. Chen Yu has mastered the absorption of cosmic bright energy very skillfully. In the morning, Chen Yu finished basking in the sun, felt the changes in his body, and Chen Yu was overjoyed. Ha ha ha, I feel great, comfortable. Captain, congratulations, you have completely understood the absorption of cosmic bright energy and successfully entered the interstellar level 2 life form. You will become more powerful, and your ability to survive in harsh environments will be greatly improved. Is this the feeling of an interstellar level 2 life form? It's really powerful. Captain, you have just entered the interstellar level 2 life, belonging to the early stage of the interstellar level 2 life form. As long as you continue to increase your brain domain, continue to absorb cosmic bright energy, and exercise yourself, you will become more powerful. Okay, I will work hard. I have prepared the gene modification fluid for my family, and I can let them inject it. Let the landing craft come down, I want to go home. Okay, Captain. Chapter 98. Chen Yu changed his clothes and took a landing craft straight to his hometown city, hundreds of kilometers away. Little Clip followed behind Chen Yu and boarded the landing craft. The landing craft cloaked itself and landed in the garden of his parents' villa. Chen Yu got out and headed straight for the villa's main hall. In recent years, his parents had overworked themselves, leaving them with various health problems. For example, his father had a herniated disc, often causing him back pain. And his mother, having done a lot of physical labor when she was young, had bone spurs on her feet and rheumatism, causing her pain at night. Chen Yu now had the ability to make his parents healthy, even strong, but this genetic modification fluid had a drawback. That is, after injection, the modification fluid would cause extreme pain when it took effect. When Chen Yu first injected himself, he almost died from the pain. However, Chen Yu consulted the intelligent brain and learned that as long as the recipient was anesthetized beforehand, they would not feel any pain. Arriving home, both parents were inside. Seeing Chen Yu return, both Father Chen and Mother Chen were overjoyed. Dad, Mom, I have something to give you. Oh, Xiaoyu, don't give us anything. Just give us a daughter-in-law. Hearing his mother's teasing, Chen Yu scratched his head. He had so many things to do right now that he really didn't have time to find a girlfriend. In Chen Yu's opinion, there were only two beautiful women around him, Suro and Xiaoyueshu. He also planned to find one of these two women to marry when he really wanted to have children. He originally coveted both of these women's bodies. Chen Yu believed that as long as he put in the effort to pursue them, he would definitely be able to win one of them over. Just as Chen Yu was feeling embarrassed, Little Clip trotted behind Chen Yu into the villa. Father Chen, Chen Jiangguo, and Mother Chen, Xiao Shehen, saw a super beauty following behind Chen Yu, even more beautiful than a celebrity. The two quickly bypassed Chen Yu, acting as if he didn't exist. Xiao Shehen stepped forward and grabbed Little Clip's arm. Her eyes gleamed as she stared at this girl with skin like a porcelain doll, without any flaws. Oh! What a pretty little girl! Are you my son's girlfriend? Good, good, good. So beautiful, this skin, this figure, so radiant. By the way, girl, what's your name? Little Clip looked happy, revealing a sunny smile. Auntie, my name is Little Clip. I am the master's secretary, bodyguard, driver, nanny, cook, and pillow. Chen Jiangguo and Xiao Shehen were both dumbfounded. Her name was Little Clip? After Chen Yu finished speaking, he glared at Little Clip. Little Clip showed a wronged expression. She clearly hadn't said anything wrong. When Xiao Shehen saw the radiant and beautiful Little Clip with her wronged little expression, she immediately became unhappy. Xiaoyu, why are you glaring at her? Little Clip is so beautiful, you should cherish her. Even if she's your secretary, she's still a girl. Be nice to her. Xiao Shehen brushed off Chen Yu's hand and continued to hold onto Little Clip, acting like she was looking at a daughter-in-law. Chen Yu rolled his eyes. If his mother knew that this was a robot with terrifying combat power, he didn't know what she would think. Father Chen, Chen Jiangguo, asked. Xiaoyu, what did you bring back for us? Chen Yu took out a box containing 3 blue potions. Dad, Mom, this is a potion I developed to enhance the body's functions. It can make all the old ailments you've accumulated from physical labor disappear, extend your life, and guarantee your health. Xiao Shehen and Chen Jiangguo both looked over, staring at the 3 blue potions in the metal box. Xiaoyu, are you saying that this thing can make all our ailments disappear? You're not joking, are you? These are all chronic illnesses, very difficult to treat. Mom, don't worry, you know what I do now. Do I need to lie to you? Xiao Shehen and Chen Jiangguo both nodded. Their son was now the boss of the largest technology company in the country and produced many technological products. It probably wasn't a problem for him to create some special potions. The main thing was that the two trusted their son, even if it was poison. If their son asked them to inject it, the two would believe it was a tonic for their own good. Dad, Mom, there's no suitable environment at home. Come with me to my spaceship. The two followed Chen Yu to the outside of the villa. With a thought from Chen Yu, a sci-fi alien spaceship slowly emerged in the large garden of the villa. The two were shocked. Damn! What is this? Chen Jiangguo exclaimed. Dad, this is my spaceship. It can perform optical stealth, so you don't have to be surprised. Fortunately, Chen Yu had already given the two enough surprises, and they quickly adapted. Chen Yu brought his parents onto the landing craft, where there was a medical bay. Inside was an all-purpose medical emergency station. Anyone who was injured could lie down on it, and the machine could perform any surgery. Chen Yu had his father and mother lie down on the medical platform at the same time, reassuring them not to be afraid. The two fully trusted their son and certainly wouldn't be afraid. After the two lay down, a glass fell, covering the two, and an anesthetic gas was released. The two slowly closed their eyes, and Chen Yu put two blue primary genetic modification fluids into the injection device. The medical bay would automatically inject the two elders. After waiting for an afternoon, the two slowly woke up. At this moment, after several hours of transformation, their bodies had undergone tremendous changes. Originally in their 50s, they had the bodies of 60 or 70-year-olds. Now they had become as healthy and strong as they were when they were 20 years old. Chen Jiangguo stood up, touched his face, and felt that the wrinkles on his face had disappeared. He looked in a piece of glass next to him to see his reflection. Oh, Xiaoyu, I feel like I've returned to when I was 20 years old. Xiao Shuhen also saw her face reflected in the glass and suddenly exclaimed. Chapter 99. Xiao Shuhen was shocked into exclaiming when she saw her face in the glass. The old woman, who originally looked like she was in her 60s, now looked like a mature woman in her 30s. Xiaoyu, is this real? I feel so relaxed, my face, it's like I've gone back 30 years. Chen Jiangguo looked at his wife, who had regained her youth, and his eyes lit up, as if he was about to have Chen Yu make him another younger brother or sister. Chen Yu explained to his parents. Dad, Mom, this is a gene modification potion that will not only make your bodies healthier, but also extend your lives. Living to be over 100 years old is no problem. The old couple, oh no, they can't be described as an old couple anymore. Chen Yu's parents stared wide-eyed, and they couldn't believe what Chen Yu said. Chen Yu further explained the benefits of this gene modification liquid to his parents. He told them that regular exercise would further enhance the modification of their bodies by the liquid. At noon, Chen Yu had a meal at home, all of which were Chen Yu's favorite dishes made by Xiao Shuhen. Xiaoyu, when your sister Chen Jia comes back, I'll let you know to come over and inject her with this potion too. Mom, no need, I'll go find her directly, because I might be quite busy next. Alright then. After Chen Yu finished eating, he left with Zijia. Xiao Shuhen was a little reluctant to part with Zijia, she had already regarded Zijia as her daughter-in-law. Chen Yu boarded the landing ship and went straight to Modu, where his sister went to college. Chen Yu found a deserted and remote place in Modu, landed the landing ship, and walked out of the cabin with Zijia. He took a taxi and went straight to the Modu Film Academy. However, his sister was still very competitive and her grades had always been very good. She usually worked part-time as a print model and basically didn't ask her family for money, and even occasionally transferred some pocket money to Chen Yu. Chen Yu arrived at the school gate and took out his phone to call Chen Jie. Oh, my big boss brother, you only remember that you have a sister now. Hehe, it's just that I've been too busy and haven't had time to see you, but Zijia, I'm in Modu now, and I want to give you a gift. Brother, why are you in Modu? I'm not in Modu now. I'm in the Shudong Film and Television City. Recently, I was recommended by my teacher to a film crew to play the third female lead. I'm going to be a big star in the future. Ah, you're filming? Then I'll come to Shudong Film and Television City to find you. Okay, come and visit me on set. Remember to buy some small gifts for the people in our film crew when you come. How many people are there in your film crew? More than 130, I guess. Okay. Chen Yu took Zijia and bought a lot of gifts in Modu City, and then boarded the landing ship and went straight to the Shudong Film and Television City in Zhe Province. Chen Yu and Zijia came to the filming location Chen Jia gave them, carrying large and small bags. As soon as Chen Yu arrived, he saw Chen Jia acting in a scene with a male actor and a seemingly vicious female actor. First, the vicious female actor stepped forward and slapped Chen Jia in the face, saying vicious lines. Chen Jia's face immediately turned red, and tears welled up in her eyes, as if the slap just now was a bit heavy. The director and the cameraman were stunned for a moment. Wasn't it agreed that the shot would be taken from an angle and there was no need to actually hit the face? Why would the second female lead, the vicious female supporting role, really slap the third female lead, Chen Jie? However, the director still didn't call to stop and continued to watch the three people's performance. Next, the male actor stepped forward and hugged Chen Jia in a very intimate manner, with his hands touching Chen Jia's body indiscriminately. When Chen Yu saw this scene, he immediately felt unhappy. Not only was his sister being hit, but she was also being taken advantage of by this man, even if it was filming. Chen Jia was his sister, and his current status did not allow his sister to be bullied like this. Chen Yu threw the large and small bags of gifts on the ground and shouted loudly behind everyone. "What are you filming? Stop everything for me!" Chen Yu is now in initial stage 2 interstellar life form, with huge energy contained in his body. The shout he uttered made the eardrums of everyone in the entire film crew ache. Everyone turned around and looked at Chen Yu, who was walking over with an angry face. Chen Yu stormed into the filming scene and kicked away the camera in front of him. Some filming equipment that was blocking Chen Yu's progress was all kicked away by him. Everyone looked at this violent man in surprise. Chen Yu walked into the scene and slapped the female actor who had just slapped his sister, sending her flying several meters away. Her face was swollen like a pig's head, and her plastic surgery nose was crooked. Chen Yu walked to the dazed male actor, grabbed the hand that was still hugging his sister, and threw him away casually, again several meters away. The male actor fell to the ground with a bang, and then wailed in pain. Chen Jia's expression froze when she saw her brother's anger. After more than 10 seconds, the director roared angrily through the loudspeaker. "Who the hell are you? How dare you disrupt our filming and hit people? Where's the security? Where's the security? Hold this kid down." Chapter 100. Chen Jia also reacted at this moment. She took her brother's hand and said anxiously, "Brother, why did you come here so quickly? Why did you hit someone just now? Oh my!" Chen Yu touched Chen Jia's little face that had just been hit, and there were still a few finger marks on it. "Zijia, you are my sister, I can't watch you being beaten. And that man, he was touching you all over just now. Is this also a normal step in your filming?" Chen Jia frowned. That second male lead had some scenes with her and often took advantage of her under the guise of filming. There was also the second female lead, who was a vicious supporting actress in the play, and even more of a bitch in reality. She couldn't stand that Chen Jia was better looking than her, all natural, and her future was definitely limitless. So, whether in or out of the play, the vicious supporting actress targeted Chen Jia. Today, she took advantage of filming to slap Chen Jia hard. Unexpectedly, this scene was seen by Chen Yu, who had come to visit the set. Now, Chen Yu can say without exaggeration that everything that happens on Earth is up to him. How could he allow his sister to be bullied? "Brother, we are also filming. Maybe I will be a little wronged, but as an actor, this is also the only way I have to go. Please apologize to them." "Apologize? Apologize my ass. I think you are more suitable to play the heroine. In the future, in the plays you film, you can only slap others, and you can't be taken advantage of." Chen Jia's expression was awkward, but also revealed relief. Her brother was protecting her. "But there's no buts. Your brother now has the ability to give you these." At this time, more than a dozen security guards had arrived at the scene, all carrying batons. "Boy, I don't care who you are. You injured our actor today and kicked our camera to pieces. Do you know how much this camera costs? We have already called the police. You just wait to go to jail." The director shouted with a loudspeaker. Hearing that she was going to jail, Chen Jia panicked immediately. She shouted at the director. "Director Wang, he is my brother. Just now, he saw me. Maybe he felt that I was being bullied, so he was so angry. We will pay for these equipment. As for the injured actor, we will apologize." When the director heard that it was Chen Jia's brother, he frowned deeply, but then he was overjoyed. He had coveted Chen Jia's graceful body for a long time. He originally wanted to use his position as a director to engage in some unspoken rules. However, this Chen Jia was not sensible and did not respond to his hints. Therefore, during the filming process, the director often made things difficult for Chen Jia. So much so that the vicious supporting actress dared to slap Chen Jia publicly during filming. The director decided that as long as Chen Jia asked him, then accompany him to spend a night in the hotel, he would not sue her brother, otherwise he would let her brother go to jail. Director Wang picked up the loudspeaker and shouted, "Xiao Chen, so that's your brother. But he did hit someone and damaged our equipment worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. We can't just let it go. But, if you..." Director Wang didn't finish speaking, but a lewd expression appeared on his face. Chen Yu saw his sister shrinking back after hearing this, coupled with Director Wang's expression, he basically guessed what this Director Wang wanted to do. Chen Yu now sees clearly the shamelessness of the entertainment industry. Since his sister likes filming, then he will create the world's largest entertainment company for his sister alone. She can film whatever she wants. The director and actors will be chosen by his sister herself, only in this way will his sister not be subjected to unspoken rules and bullying. Ha ha ha, my sister Chen Yu, is also someone you are qualified to touch? I think your crew can be disbanded. Hearing Chen Yu's arrogant words, the director and crew members, they all looked at Chen Yu like an idiot, wondering what ability the other party had to pretend to be forceful here. Boy, in that case, you just wait to go to jail, call the police. Zijia, you don't know what my status is now. Chen Jia only knew that her brother was now the boss of Huanyu Technology. I don't know about the cooperation between Huanyu Technology and the military, let alone Chen Yu's heavy damage to the US and Sakura Navy. Brother, then this time, let's pay for it. I probably won't be able to stay in this crew anymore. Chen Yu stroked his sister's forehead with a doting look. It's okay to not stay in this kind of crew, and you are only the third female lead, which does not match your temperament. I think you were born to play the female lead. Oh, brother, don't I have to climb up from the bottom, layer by layer? You have a brother like me, why climb? Brother will let you take off directly. Just kidding, Chen Yu is now equivalent to the ruler of the earth. When the alien fleet arrives, he will completely save the earth once. By that time, it is estimated that people all over the world will know him. About 20 minutes later, a police car roared and stopped at the crew's filming site. Several policemen got out of the car, and the leading officer asked, who called the police, saying that someone deliberately destroyed the crew's property here. Chapter 101. Seeing the police finally arrive, Director Wang's assistant quickly stepped forward to explain the situation to them. After understanding the situation, several police officers looked towards Chen Yu, who was sitting calmly to the side. The police couldn't help but feel that this young man sitting so calmly looked somewhat familiar. For those who didn't circulate in tech circles, such as the crew members, they rarely recognized Chen Yu. Perhaps they had heard of a tech company boss named Chen Yu, but they wouldn't recognize his face. After all, Chen Yu had only appeared in 2 press conferences and a few science and technology programs. Several police officers approached Chen Yu and Chen Jie, and the leading officer looked at the calm Chen Yu and frowned, saying, Sir, did you destroy those cameras and equipment? Chen Yu smiled faintly and said, Yes, it was me. Sir, please show your ID card. I received a report that you deliberately destroyed a huge amount of property. We are now arresting you. Do you have any objections? Chen Yu looked at the officer who was speaking, still with that nonchalant look. Officer, I admit that I destroyed all of these, but you can't arrest me. I advise you to wait. I've already asked someone to handle this matter. Several police officers showed expressions as if they were looking at an idiot, and the officer narrowed his eyes and said, Sir, please cooperate with our work. Please show your ID card and then stand up. I said, the person I called will be here soon. Don't you understand? The aura emanating from Chen Yu was powerful, and the momentum of several police officers was instantly suppressed. The leading officer's expression was surprised. What confidence did this person have to be so arrogant? Just then, a convoy of cars that seemed to have no end in sight drove aggressively towards the filming location. The adjacent road was completely filled with cars, many of which were black official cars, as well as police cars from the municipal bureau. The police officers in front of Chen Yu looked nervously at the endless convoy. When they recognized the units to which these cars belonged, the expressions of several police officers revealed shock. This was just a small case, how could it have alarmed such big leaders? From the first few black official cars, several middle-aged men in Zhongshan suits stepped out. It was clear at a glance that they were high-ranking leaders. After getting out of the car, several people trotted towards the film crew. After looking around, they finally saw Chen Yu sitting on a chair. Several leaders hurried to Chen Yu's side, completely ignoring the police officers. One of the middle-aged men in a Zhongshan suit bowed respectfully and said, Oh, Mr. Chen, your visit to our Hengdian World Studios in Zhejiang Province truly brings glory to our entire Zhejiang Province. Another man in a Zhongshan suit also bowed respectfully and said, They never expected that they would all come to respectfully greet this young man. From beginning to end, this young man hadn't even stood up. What exactly was this person's identity? Several police officers couldn't figure it out. There's no need for your top leaders to come over. This is just a small matter here. The Zhongshan suit big shot said respectfully. Mr. Chen's matter, how could it possibly be a small matter? The big shot turned around and said seriously to the police officers next to him. Have you investigated clearly? Is it that these people from the film crew have offended Mr. Chen? Send people to arrest everyone here. The police officers were stunned. The big leader actually directly ordered to arrest the people who offended this kid. How influential was he? The police chief looked embarrassed and said. District chief, but the people who called the police were from the film crew, saying that this gentleman damaged hundreds of thousands of yuan worth of their filming equipment. The district chief's expression instantly turned serious. Officer, Mr. Chen must have had his reasons for damaging these equipment. It must be that these people were ignorant and offended Mr. Chen. Just arrest them and interrogate them. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a white police uniform rushed out of the convoy, panting, and ran to Chen Yu's side. The police officers who had arrived earlier were once again shocked when they saw the person who came. Wasn't this their district bureau chief? The man in the white police uniform also stepped forward to respectfully greet Chen Yu. Mr. Chen, I'm late, I'm really sorry. I'll send people to arrest these people right away. The first few police officers who arrived were completely dumbfounded. Just how big was the background of this young man in front of them? Just as these police officers were shocked, the sound of helicopter propellers came from the sky. Everyone looked towards the sky and was immediately shocked. What the hell was going on? This formation was too scary. More than a dozen helicopters, even several military helicopters, slowly landed on the adjacent open space. From the ordinary helicopters, several important figures who often appeared in Zhejiang province news stepped out. From the military helicopters, a row of special forces soldiers with live ammunition came down. Several big leaders quickly came to Chen Yu, and the small officials who had been there earlier all stood on both sides. The top leader of Zhejiang province stretched out his hand to greet Chen Yu. Oh, Mr. Chen, it really is you. I'm late. Only then did Chen Yu slowly stand up. This was a top official of a province. The level was there, and no matter how arrogant Chen Yu was, he couldn't reject the other party's face. Chen Yu smiled and shook hands with the big leader. More than 100 special forces soldiers with live ammunition who had just come down from the armed helicopters immediately surrounded the scene. Especially those film crew members, all were aimed at by the dark muzzles. Director Wang, who was still arrogant just now, was now covered in sweat. He had just seen one heavyweight leader after another arrive. His heart was shocked again and again, and then he saw those leaders being respectful to this young man, as if he was the leader. Even if Director Wang and the crew were stupid, they all knew that they had offended someone they shouldn't have. Chen Jie witnessed this shocking scene throughout. Wasn't her older brother just opening a tech company and becoming rich? Why were so many big shots so respectful to him? Brother, these people seem to be big shots who appear in the news. Why are they so respectful to you? Chen Jie pulled on Chen Yu's sleeve and asked weakly. Chapter 102. Chen Jie was already stunned by the big shots who came to the scene, these big figures who are usually only seen on provincial news. Why are they so respectful to her older brother? Chen Yu smiled at his sister and explained. Hehe, your brother has made a little contribution to the country, so I am now receiving some care. Chen Jie's eyes widened. A little contribution? This is probably not as simple as a little contribution. However, a few months ago, Chen Yu came home and said that he had opened a technology company. At that time, the family was even more surprised, so now that Chen Yu said he had done something, it didn't seem so shocking. Mr. Chen, what do you think we should do with these crew members? The top leader of Zhejiang province asked Chen Yu for instructions. Director Wang, the second female lead whose nose was crooked, and the second male lead who took advantage of Chen Jie, all looked at Chen Yu nervously. As if waiting for the verdict of fate, they had no doubt. If Chen Jie's brother said to execute them on the spot, the guns in the hands of these soldiers would shoot bullets without hesitation. Chen Yu turned his head and looked at his sister Chen Jie. Zijia, what do you think should be done with the people who bullied you just now? No matter what you want them to do, that's what they have to do. Chen Yu's words gave his sister enough confidence, even execution was possible. Chen Jia looked at the vicious female supporting role, the second male lead, and director Wang. At this moment, the three of them looked panicked, and the second female lead with a crooked nose actually crawled to Chen Jia's feet, grabbed Chen Jia's calf and wailed. Jia, it's my fault, I shouldn't have targeted you, I know I was wrong, please forgive me, I was obsessed with ghosts before, I was jealous of you, you are beautiful, you will definitely have a future, please don't be like me, a cheap woman, please spare my life. Chen Jia's expression showed a hint of unbearableness as she looked at the second female lead in such a mess. This detail was seen by the second male lead, and he followed suit, rushing over to hug Chen Jia's leg, his expression even more exaggerated, as if his parents had died. Sister Jia, it's all my fault, I never thought of taking advantage of you, brother. Ah! Before the second male lead could finish speaking, he was kicked away by Chen Yu. This idiot, it seems he hasn't learned his lesson yet, he still dares to come over and hug his sister's leg. Everyone at the scene saw that the second male lead was kicked more than 10 meters away by Chen Yu, lying on the ground spitting blood. How much strength would this require? In fact, Chen Yu had already reduced his strength, otherwise, he could have kicked this kind of ordinary person to death with one kick. Director Wang's legs were shaking, and he knelt down directly. Just kidding, with Chen Yu's ability now, it would be a piece of cake to call all the celebrities from Hollywood over to play supporting roles for his sister. In the end, Chen Jia left the crew with her brother. As for Director Wang, the second female lead, and the second male lead, they were directly taken away by the police. Although it wouldn't cost them their lives, detaining them for 15 days and letting them taste the taste of being locked in a small dark room was certain. Chen Yu took his sister to a deserted roadside, and a spaceship with a sci-fi appearance gradually appeared. Chen Jia was taken aback, and after Chen Yu's explanation, Chen Jia believed that this was her brother's invisible spaceship. What surprised Chen Jia the most was that there was a woman beside her brother who looked like a fairy. If she went to their entertainment circle, she could become a top star just by her face. Brother, is this my sister-in-law? She's so beautiful. Chen Yu was speechless, his old sister also misunderstood Xiao Jiaz's identity. Hey! No, this is my secretary. Chen Jia is not a child anymore, she understands everything about what a secretary does when there is something to do, and what to do when there is nothing to do. Seeing the cheap expression on his old sister's face, Chen Yu simply didn't explain. Chen Yu took Chen Jia to the medical bay. Brother, what are you bringing me here for? I have a gift for you. Chen Yu took out the last blue gene modification liquid he brought this time. Brother, what is this? This is a gene modification liquid that can make you immune to all diseases, healthy, and at least increase your lifespan by decades, so you can always be so beautiful. Chen Jia was shocked. If there really is such a potion, wouldn't it be quite precious? Just for the sake of being able to increase your lifespan by decades, selling it to those rich people, one potion would be at least tens of billions, no problem. Her brother is actually going to give it to her. Brother, is this potion really that magical? Of course, your brother now runs a technology company, this is my latest research and development, and besides, Mom and Dad have been injected with it. When you go back home for vacation, you will definitely be surprised when you see them. Under Chen Yu's explanation, Chen Jia already believed it, and finally followed the steps. She lay in the medical bay, and a glass cover fell. A few hours later, Chen Jia slowly woke up. She jumped up from the medical platform. She felt full of power, refreshed, and not only that. Chen Jia's skin became more tender and translucent than before, almost without any flaws. Moreover, Chen Jia's figure has also improved a lot, she is fully developed, and her figure is already comparable to Xiao Jiazi. Looking at the metal plate mirror next to her, Chen Jia couldn't believe her eyes. Brother, is the person in this mirror me? Of course, my sister is naturally beautiful, beautiful. Brother, now I think you are right, I was born to play the leading role. Ha ha ha, right. In Chen Jia's shocked and joyful mood, Chen Yu only spent a few minutes to send her back to the Magic City Film Academy. Chen Yu plans to go back and register an entertainment company for his sister, so that his sister can become a real superstar. After sending his sister away, Chen Yu drove the landing ship back to Zhongcheng. A few days later, Yanjing, the National Health Department building, an office, a secret meeting is being held. Zhang Chongshun, Minister of Health, looked at a document compiled from hospitals across the country, his brows furrowed quite high. After reading the material, Zhang Chongshun threw the document on the table, his tone very serious. How long has this virus been around? Next to the seat, Zihe Hospital, a medical professor in his 50s wearing glasses stood up and said. We investigated hospitals across the country. The first case of the virus was discovered during other virus screenings, about half a month ago, and this virus was found all over the country. These patients were found to be carrying this virus during physical examinations and other virus checks. According to our research on this virus belongs to the lung disease virus. The specific incubation period, we do not yet know, but this virus has extremely high drug resistance. We have used many methods, but we cannot kill it, so we can only wait for the symptomatic period of its incubation period to completely study this virus. Chapter 103. The Minister of Health, Zhang Chongshun, frowned even deeper after hearing the words of the medical professor. According to research, this is a newly emerging virus with an extremely high transmission rate, capable of spreading through airborne droplets. Moreover, the virus can survive in natural environments for up to 3 days. Any place where a virus carrier has been has a risk of transmission within those 3 days. It's even more ferocious than the coronavirus outbreak a few years ago. The most worrying thing is that this virus has an extremely long incubation period. Patients carrying the virus were discovered half a month ago. To this day, they have only shown mild symptoms of lung disease, which most people would mistake for a minor cold and ignore. It is precisely the combination of these factors that makes this virus so terrifying. Zhang Chongshun stood up and issued orders to the medical doctors and professors present. You must quickly research the final symptoms of this virus after it deteriorates, the mortality rate, and also develop a vaccine. This matter is urgent. I don't want to see a virus pandemic like the one a few years ago that led to city lockdowns. All the experts stood up and firmly accepted the order. After the meeting, Zhang Chongshun instructed his secretary. Prepare the car, I need to see the chief. The secretary acknowledged the order and went to prepare the car. After returning from Modu, Chen Yu had Suro register a Huanyu Entertainment Company. The first, and only, artist signed under the company was his own sister. Then, he had Suro find many high-quality scripts for Chenjia to choose from, so she could film whatever she wanted. No matter how famous the supporting actors needed were, he would directly invite them. Moreover, with the help of the authorities, the big shots in the entire entertainment industry couldn't wait to appear in Huanyu Entertainment's productions. This instantly made Chenjia the top celebrity in the entertainment industry, and also the one with the most powerful background. After more than half a month of construction, Chenyu's space elevator had been completed. Moreover, with sufficient materials, the parts for the first home-class spaceship were being manufactured at an amazing speed, and 3/4 of it had already been built. Now that the space elevator was also built, it could be transported to space for assembly. Chenyu estimated that in another 10 days to half a month, the first home-class mothership, as huge as a city, would be completed. Although this home-class spaceship did not yet have a city and ecosystem built inside. The first one was completely used for mining and loading minerals on other planets. So, there was no city built inside. If an ecosystem and city were to be built, it would take a very long time. Chenyu's space elevator was built in the very center of the Huanyu Science and Technology Park, because the Huanyu Science and Technology Park was too large. Those who were watching the excitement outside the walls of the Science and Technology Park could only see the center of the Science and Technology Park, several kilometers away, vaguely seeing something shooting straight into the sky. They didn't know what it was. Now, the military had no restrictions on Huanyu technology, because it simply couldn't restrict it. No matter what Chenyu did in the Science and Technology Park, few people outside knew. Even the spy satellites of all countries in the world could not capture the situation inside Huanyu technology. The entire home-class spaceship was 10 kilometers long, 5 kilometers wide, and 3 kilometers high, with a total mass of 150 to 200 million tons. The quality of goods that can be loaded is as high as 300 to 500 million tons. Basically, filling a home-class spaceship with mineral resources could build an underground shelter base. Chenyu piloted the landing craft and flew to the huge hangar inside the home-class spaceship. This place could park hundreds of ships like the landing craft. Chenyu planned to park the number 1 mothership on the moon in the hangar of the home-class spaceship as well. The first home-class spaceship used a controlled nuclear fusion engine. Because Chenyu did not have the technical permission for the controlled antimatter annihilation engine on the number 1 mothership, he could only use a controlled nuclear fusion engine. In order to provide enough power, Chen Yu frantically built 10 nuclear fusion engines for the home-class spaceship. According to Chen Yu, if the technology is not enough, the quantity can make up for it, and miracles can be achieved with great effort. 10 super-large nuclear fusion engines driving such a huge home-class spaceship was completely no problem. Even with 10 nuclear fusion engines installed, the speed was still much slower than the normal speed of the number 1 mothership in space. However, the fastest speed also reached about 600 km per second, which was only 1/5 of the normal speed of the number 1 mothership. Of course, because the home-class spaceship had too much mass, the time required for acceleration and deceleration would be longer. But Chen Yu was still quite satisfied. At this speed of the home-class spaceship, at least within the solar system, he could travel back and forth between Earth and Jupiter within a month. Moreover, within the solar system, there are rocky planets with mining value. Venus, Mercury, Mars, the asteroid belt, and dozens of satellites of Jupiter and Saturn. Most of the rocky planets are relatively close to Earth, and a round trip can be made in a few days, so the speed of the home-class spaceship is not slow. 3 more days passed, and Chen Yu's first home-class spaceship completed a comprehensive inspection. All equipment was operating normally and it was ready to mine in outer space at any time. Chen Yu also parked the number 1 mothership in the huge hangar inside the home-class spaceship. Now, all of his belongings were basically in this home-class spaceship. Chen Yu stood in the luxurious command room of the home-class spaceship. This was a command room built according to his own style, with all kinds of furniture. Chen Yu lay on the luxurious sofa and instructed the AI. AI, we are almost ready. Let's set off now and go to Venus first. According to the detection instruments we left there before, there are a lot of nickel and titanium mines there, even more than our Earth's iron mines. Using this material as the outer wall material for underground shelters is much harder than iron ore. Okay, Captain, I am setting the course to Venus. Currently, Venus is 84 million kilometers away from us, and it will take about 2 days to reach. This shows the difference. The number 1 mothership only needs more than 7 hours to travel this distance. But this time is enough to satisfy Chen Yu. After all, the Earth's Mars rover takes more than half a year to fly. Okay, let's go. The huge fixing device connecting the home-class spaceship to the space elevator and the spaceport space station slowly opened. The 10 super-large controlled nuclear fusion engines of the home-class spaceship were activated, and the huge spaceship slowly moved towards deep space. Turn the 10 nuclear fusion engines to maximum power. Okay, Captain, increasing the output power of the nuclear fusion engine, speed 50 km per second, 100 km per second, 200 km per second, 300 km per second, 400 km per second, 500 km per second, 600 km per second. Maximum speed of the home-class spaceship has been reached. Acceleration took 30 minutes, the current orbit is correct, the ship's attitude is good, and it will reach Venus in 48.5 hours. While Chen Yu was leaving Earth and delving into the depths of the universe, on Earth, within Yangzia, things were already not peaceful. After these days of spread and fermentation, the targeted virus had become increasingly rampant. Under the research of scientists at the Yangzia Biochemical Gene Research Institute, a terrifying fact was discovered. Chapter 104. Yanjing, still in that small building. It was heavily guarded, and high-ranking officials attending the meeting had to undergo virus screening. Inside the building, the leader was looking at a document, surrounded by important figures. Changshun, you are the Minister of Health, what do you think we should do next? The leader asked with a frown. Zhang Changshun stood up with a solemn expression, outlining his upcoming plans. Leader, according to our research on the virus, its incubation period is at least 1 month. We first discovered a carrier of the virus who died 2 days ago. This period spans about 1 month. After studying the virus found on his body, leading to the outbreak of symptoms and eventual death, our medical experts have concluded that this virus has an extremely high mortality rate, and the final critical stage is very short, posing a great challenge to treatment. Therefore, my suggestion is to conduct a large-scale virus screening to identify infected patients and isolate them for treatment. The dignitaries all frowned. The leader took a sip of tea and said in a solemn tone. Is this the only way? Chen Yu was unaware of the events happening on Earth. 2 days later, his homeworld-class spaceship successfully arrived at Venus. Captain, we have arrived at Venus. The homeworld-class spaceship is in near Venus orbit. Should we dispatch transport ships and mining robots? Chen Yu waved his hand. All right, deploy the robots. Then, through the glass of the command room, Chen Yu saw densely packed mining robots. There were also hundreds of newly built mining transport ships flying towards the surface of Venus. Captain, according to our previous probes, we have identified a super nickel titanium ore deposit on Venus. We estimate to mine nearly 500 million tons of ore this time. The nickel titanium content of these ores exceeds 50%. After refining, we can basically build all the outer walls, and even the internal structures, of an underground shelter. Good, no wonder it's Earth's good buddy planet, so rich in resources. Before Chen Yu set off, he built dozens of space probes and sent them to dozens of rocky planets within Jupiter's orbit. Once useful mineral resources were detected, they would send information back to the AI. These rocky planets in the solar system were quite rich in resources, basically having any element Chen Yu wanted. Thus, Chen Yu stayed in the command room, watching the densely packed transport ships shuttling between the spaceship and Venus. These transport ships were about 50 meters long, only having a cargo hold and a small nuclear fusion engine, maximizing the loading capacity. Each trip could transport 300 tons of ore. Captain, currently all 20,000 mining robots have been deployed, and 500 transport ships are participating in the work. It is estimated to take 5 days to mine 500 million tons of ore. All right then, I'll go to the cultivation room to bask in the sunday. Chen Yu went to the special cultivation room he had built for himself, a cabin made of high molecular reinforced glass, allowing sunlight to enter. Here, Chen Yu could bask in the sun to his heart's content, absorbing cosmic energy. Chen Yu sat cross-legged on the platform in the middle, closed his eyes, and began to feel the energy in the sunlight. Venus is closer to the sun than Earth, so the solar radiation here is much stronger than on Earth. Fortunately, the cabin glass could adjust the amount of sunlight and radiation entering. Chen Yu adjusted it to a comfortable level and absorbed it to his heart's content. In less than 1 hour, Chen Yu felt his body was full. The radiation here is indeed strong, I'm full so quickly. With a thought, Chen Yu turned the transparent glass black, blocking all sunlight. After absorbing cosmic energy this time, Chen Yu felt some changes in his body. He subconsciously raised his hand, looked at his fingertip, and suddenly a wisp of blue flame formed by energy condensed on his fingertip. Chen Yu widened his eyes, looking at this scene in disbelief. AI, what is this? Could this be what you said about releasing internal energy? This is too incredible. Captain, congratulations, you have realized how to release the cosmic energy within your body. When you become stronger, you can use this energy to attack. True energy release, have I already entered the Grandmaster realm? Ha ha ha. Chen Yu joked. Captain, your current energy release can at most light a cigarette. Captain, you still need to practice. You haven't even reached the mid-stage of a Tier 2 interstellar life form. However, Captain, your comprehension is quite good. You actually comprehended energy release in the early stage of Tier 2. You can be considered a genius. Ha ha ha, it seems I am that 1 in a million genius. Ew. AI, what was that sound just now? Captain, I just felt a little nauseous, disgusted by your arrogant words. You're just an intelligent program, what's there to throw up? 3 days later, Earth, Yangzia. Large-scale virus screenings suddenly began across the country, and major cities began building isolation hospitals. On the first day alone, 5 million virus carriers were screened out. In addition to the makeshift hospitals under construction, all major tertiary hospitals were requisitioned to create temporary isolation zones. In just 3 days, the entire Yangzia was in a state of panic. Was another virus making a comeback? Fortunately, Yangzia's official media used both emotional appeals and logical reasoning, and the public had experienced the baptism of a virus epidemic a few years ago. People were very cooperative, after all, no one wanted to cause trouble for the country at this time. After 3 consecutive days of screening, the number of people diagnosed with the new virus soared from 5 million to 10 million. If this continued, no matter how many hospitals were built, they would not be able to meet the treatment demand. Yanjing, in the highest level conference room. The leader and the top figures were sitting together. Participants included the Ministry of Health, the Biochemical Research Institute, and the presidents of the best tertiary hospitals in the country. The situation is now pressing, you are all medical experts, what should we do now? The leader was recently somewhat exhausted and spoke with a hint of helplessness. The participating medical experts all had grim expressions. The virus had come too fiercely, catching people off guard. Moreover, the mortality rate was quite high. Currently, hundreds of people were dying every day, with the mortality rate exceeding 90%. That is to say, once infected with this virus, the mortality rate is almost certain after 1 month. Zhang Chongshun, the Minister of Health, suggested. Leader, we have not yet found a specific medicine or treatment method for this virus. We can only use conventional methods to increase the patient's resistance and allow them to overcome the virus themselves. However, this virus is spreading too quickly. Even with the combined medical resources of the entire country, it is difficult to curb the spread. I suggest seeking international assistance. Just after Zhang Chongshun made the suggestion, an expert from the Yangtze Biochemical Research Institute stood up, took out a report and said, I have a research report on the identity information of confirmed virus cases, and I think everyone needs to take a look. Chapter 105. The secretary beside him distributed the copies of the document to each of the big shots. 10 minutes later, after all the big shots had finished reading the material, they all frowned, and some even showed anger. Minister Li Zhenfeng slammed the table heavily and said angrily, how could there be such a thing? Why are only we Yangtze people infected with the virus? Those foreigners working in Yangtze, and even the Bangsa country people and Sakura country people who are also Asians, are not infected. There is something wrong with this. Now everyone suspects that this large-scale virus invasion in Yangtze was not accidental. Zhang Chongshun frowned and replied after thinking for a moment. Chief, according to this material and the research of the Biochemical Research Institute, we may be under attack by a gene-targeting virus. This is a genetic weapon that only targets us Yangtze people. It is likely that someone deliberately released it on us. As soon as Zhang Chongshun said this, the top officials of Yangtze present were all shocked. Thinking of the countries with this strength, the finger points directly at the United States. In the past few months, Yangtze has severely damaged their navy and replaced the United States as the world's #1 superpower. As the former world hegemon, how could the United States be willing to hand over this position? With the rise of Huanyu technology, the United States cannot compete with Yangtze in military power, and then used this despicable and inhumane method. Damn it! The United States is too shameless to use such a heinous method. We can't let the United States succeed. Our military suggests sending troops to the United States to demand that they come up with a cure for the virus. Yes. The situation is urgent. This kind of thing can only be done by the United States. We must take action as soon as possible. Several generals of the military were indignant, and they all advocated using force to threaten the United States. The chief and several cabinet leaders were all in deep thought. These are the world's top 2 countries. If a war breaks out, it will basically be a world war. Finally, the chief said to the audience, we will first investigate the truth of this incident. If it is determined to be man-made, our Yangtze will definitely not be easy to bully. Everyone took orders and left full of anger. In the military base, Cao Guang received an order from Yanjing. Let the base take isolation measures, do not let people go out at will, daily supplies in and out. Including personnel and materials, they must be disinfected and virus checked. Ensure the safety of 100,000 people in the base. Cao Guang stood on the high platform by the sea of the military base, watching the soldiers training shirtless on the beach. They are all strong and healthy, and they are soldiers of Yangtze who protect their homes. This time the virus, I don't know how many people will die again, alas, our Yangtze has just relied on Huanyu technology to rise strongly and achieve the top of the world, why did we encounter this kind of thing again? Cao Guang muttered to himself unwillingly, and Zhou Wenping, a weapons and equipment design expert beside him, also sighed. He had previously confronted Chen Yu because of the bullet head, but now he is convinced by Huanyu technology. General Cao, Yanjing may have big moves recently, and our military region may be sent out to sea to fight. Of course, Cao Guang knew that as the head of the southern military region, he had already received orders to be ready to go to sea to fight at any time. The large amount of materials that the military region is receiving recently is to prepare for war. Is it possible that it is related to this virus? Zhou Wenping asked. Cao Guang looked at the vast sea. It is said that only we Yangtze people are infected with this virus. Neighboring countries, including Asian countries such as Bangsa and Sakura, are not affected at all. Don't you think this is very unusual? Zhou Wenping is a top scientist in the military industry field, but it does not mean that he does not understand these things. I think Yanjing has discovered the unusualness of this virus incident, and there may really be a war. Cao Guang nodded. In Motive Film Academy, Chen Jia was isolated in her dormitory. Her new movie, which she was filming, was also called to a halt because several virus carriers were screened out in the crew. After several checks, she was determined not to be infected and returned to school. In the dormitory, a roommate asked Chen Jia curiously. Jia, I heard that half of your crew has been infected with the new virus. Your resistance is really great, and your luck is so good. I also heard that once you are infected with this virus, you will be taken to a suburban area dozens of kilometers away for isolation. Chen Jia was also very curious. The male lead who often played opposite her was infected, but she had no problem at all. Suddenly, Chen Jia remembered that some time ago, her brother had injected her with a gene-enhancing potion. Recently, she not only felt that her body was getting better, but her hearing and eyesight were also sharp, and she even felt that her brain was very useful. She can basically remember those lines after reading them once. And she also has a new understanding of the deep meaning expressed in the script, and the director praised her for her high comprehension. This obvious change occurred after injecting the gene modification fluid her brother gave her. Could it be that the reason why I was not infected is because my body has been strengthened, and ordinary viruses can no longer hurt me? It must be, Chen Jia is very sure. Thinking of this, a happy expression appeared on Chen Jia's face. My brother is still good to me, my brother is the relative who loves me the most. In Chen Yu's hometown, the community where Chen Jiangguo and Xiao Shahen are located has been locked down. Because multiple confirmed cases have been found in the community, the couple closed the garden gate tightly in the villa, fearing that someone would break in. Jiangguo, is it the coronavirus coming again this time? Chen Jiangguo frowned and said. The official said that this time is different from the last time. This time, the incubation period is longer. Let us stay at home and don't run around if we have nothing to do. In the past few days, doctors wearing biohazard suits and wrapped tightly have been visiting their homes to do virus screening. The family next door to Chen Jiangguo and Xiao Shahen were found to be carrying the virus and were taken away for isolation. 2 days ago, they were still playing mahjong with their neighbors. The old couple thought they would also be infected, but they felt very good and could pass the check every time. Jiangguo, do you think the reason why we were not infected is because the sun injected us with some kind of enhanced gene potion? Chen Jiangguo nodded. Since he and his wife were injected with the enhanced potion, not only have people become decades younger, but all aspects of their bodies have improved more than a star and a half. Even in that aspect, Chen Jiangguo felt that he was more fierce than when he was young. In addition, his wife is also younger, and the couple have to do it almost every day. Chen Yu estimated that he might have another younger brother or sister soon. It should be the potion injected by our son that has improved our resistance, and this virus has no effect on us. Xiao Shahen was relieved when she got her husband's affirmation. 2 more days passed. In the highest conference room of Yanjing, the chief looked at the research report of the Biochemical Research Institute with a serious and angry expression. Chapter 106. The report from the Yangzhou Biochemical Research Institute detailed the proportion of infected foreigners. Biochemical experts discovered a shocking and terrifying fact. Of those infected with this new virus, 99.99% were Yangzhou people. And the remaining 0.01% of infected foreigners were mixed bloods with direct Yangzhou relatives within their ancestral 3 generations. As for the people of Bangzhou country and Sakura country, who are also of Asian descent, although they migrated from the Yangtze land thousands of years ago. However, after thousands of years of evolution, their genetic map has slight differences from the current Yangtze people. And this new virus has no effect on them at all. Minister of Health Zhang Chongshun picked up the document and stood up, explaining to the chief and the highest level officials of Yangzhou. According to the statistics of the Ministry of Health and the research of the Biochemical Research Institute, we have found that only our Yangzhou people and mixed blood foreigners with Yangzhou blood within 3 generations are infected with the new virus. The experts at the Biochemical Research Institute analyzed the genetic maps of these confirmed foreigners, and they all carry a dominant gene that distinguishes us from other countries and nations. Therefore, we have reason to suspect that this dominant gene, which all Yangzhou people have, has been used by a crazy country to create a gene-targeting virus specifically for our pure Yangzhou people. After Zhang Chengshun's explanation, the big shots in the Supreme Conference Room gasped. This was simply a rhythm to remove Yangzhou from this world. Several representatives of the military stood up and slammed the table. Send troops, we must send troops, this must have been done by the Americans, without a doubt. Yes, we must launch a war. Our Yangtze is not easy to mess with. After so many years of forbearance, we are now strong, but we are being plotted against like this. If Yangtze is gone from the world, then this world doesn't need to exist. In the Supreme Conference Room, these big shots at the pinnacle of national power were all red-faced, condemning the heinous acts of the Americans. Just as everyone was filled with righteous indignation, the chief slowly stood up, his body seemed to be a little older. Everyone, be quiet. The big shots slowly quieted down, watching what orders the chief would give. After the whole place was quiet, the chief continued. This matter is of great importance. We will immediately send representatives to have serious negotiations with the Americans, and ask them to hand over the method to treat the virus. Within 3 days, if they quibble and do not admit it, our Yangtze will immediately send troops, heading straight to the American mainland from the Pacific Ocean. When the country is in trouble, survival is at stake, and no loss is allowed. Li Zhenfeng took on this negotiation mission, and several powerful military big shots also took orders and quickly entered a state of combat readiness. Chen Yu certainly didn't know what was happening on Earth. He was still mining ore on Venus, more than 80 million kilometers away. In the command room of the home-class spaceship, Chen Yu was eating delicious food, exquisite meals cooked by Little Clip. Intelligent brain, how much ore has been mined now? Today is the last day of mining, and the inside of the spaceship is about to be filled. Okay, we have a good harvest this time. We can transport back the materials to build an underground base in one go. This is just great. Captain, I have something to report to you. Speak, what is it? When we were mining minerals on Venus, we found some biological fossils 500 meters underground. According to our detection of these fossils, these creatures became extinct about 600 million years ago, and these fossils belong to human-like creatures close to you Earthlings. Chen Yu widened his eyes. Earth scientists have always wanted to figure out whether there have been creatures on Venus. But now he has discovered them, still with ironclad evidence in the form of fossils, and still human-like creatures. Chen Yu couldn't help but think that Earth scientists have found that the first animal on Earth appeared about 600 million years ago. Is there any connection between them? Venus was once in the solar system's habitable zone for 3 billion years. If life could be nurtured during this time, there is no doubt that intelligent creatures would be produced, and there would be intelligent civilizations. And the result of Earth scientists' research is that Venus fell out of the habitable zone 600 to 700 million years ago, and then encountered a serious crustal movement. If there was a civilization on Venus, it must have become extinct at that time. Okay, Captain. Earth, in the Southern Military Region Base. CAO Guang received the order and quickly assembled 3 Yangtze aircraft carriers, and loaded all J-20 fighters and J-35 fighters onto the aircraft carriers. All Type 096 nuclear submarines were fully loaded with missiles, and Type 055 destroyers were filled with ammunition, ready to follow the aircraft carriers to sea at any time. The 10 Buell-Theod combat flyers that Huanyu technology had re-provided were also loaded onto the aircraft carrier, ready for full combat. CAO Guang knew that this was making the final preparations for war. Thinking of this, CAO Guang felt that he should notify Chen Yu. So he took out his private phone and dialed Chen Yu. The call was immediately connected. This was the voice intelligent program Chen Yu left on Earth. Hello, I am Chen Yu. I am currently handling affairs in outer space. If you have anything, please leave a message. CAO Guang was surprised that Chen Yu was not on Earth. Thinking of Chen Yu's current strength and his sci-fi spaceship, it was normal to go to space to do something. So CAO Guang left a message on the phone. Chen Yu, the country is in trouble now. There is currently a new type of virus raging on the Yangtze land. The higher-ups suspect that it is a targeted virus against Yangtze people manufactured by the Americans, so our military is now fully assembled and preparing to head to the American mainland, demanding that the other party hand over the method to treat the virus. If you receive my message, please be sure to help Yangtze again. After CAO Guang finished speaking, he hung up the phone and looked at the blue sky. Chen Yu, where are you now? Is the vast space the place where you roam? At this moment, a receiver in the Huanyu Science and Technology Park transmitted CAO Guang's voice message just now into space. Chapter 107. Currently, Earth is approximately 84 million kilometers away from Venus. CAO Guang's message to Chen Yu was transmitted via the Huanyu Technology Park's signal transmitter towards Venus. Radio signals travel through space at the speed of light, approximately 300,000 km per second. Even at that speed, it would take a little over 4, almost 5 minutes, to reach Venus from 84 million kilometers away. Tens of millions of kilometers away on Venus, Chen Yu stood in front of the command center's glass window, watching the final transport ships return to the Homeworld-class spaceship. Just then, the AI's voice sounded in the command center. "Captain, CAO Guang from Earth has sent you a voice message. Would you like to listen to it?" "General CAO?" "All right, play it." Then, Chen Yu heard CAO Guang's message. "If you receive my message, please help Yangzia one more time." After listening to CAO Guang's message, Chen Yu immediately frowned. A new type of virus? A targeted virus that only affects the Yangzia race. Could it be the Americans again? It has to be them. Humph, it seems they won't shed tears until they see the coffin. They're capable of such atrocious things. Good. The return journey would take 2 days. Chen Yu wasn't worried. He believed he could research a vaccine and specific medicine for that virus. Chen Yu was instead furious at America's actions. This was simply a cruel method of wiping out an entire race. He would never allow such a thing to happen on Earth. Earth, Washington, D.C., in the White House. Li Zhenfeng and dozens of Yangzia representatives were engaged in intense negotiations with the acting President of the United States, Harrison, and her cabinet team. "Madam President Harrison, please don't play dumb. You are the only ones in this world who possess such technology and motive." Now that things were basically out in the open, Li Zhenfeng no longer minced words and spoke bluntly. Harrison put on an innocent face, like a little woman, and spread her hands, saying, "Minister Li, I don't know what you mean by this visit, nor do I know anything about the virus you're talking about. The United States is a peace-loving, freedom-aspiring democratic country. We would never do such an inhumane thing. Please don't slander us without cause, Minister Li." Li Zhenfeng's mouth twitched. This bitch was actually putting on an innocent, denying act. It was simply disgusting. "Madam Harrison, please don't lie through your teeth. Why does this virus only target the Yangzia people? Other races, including the Koreans and Japanese, who are also Asian, are unaffected. What does that mean? It means this virus could not have appeared naturally. It must have been artificially created, and you, the United States, are the culprit." Harrison was about to continue refuting when Rogers, the Minister of Science and Technology of the United States, said sarcastically, "Minister Li, your logic is untenable. You have no evidence to prove that this virus was created by the United States. Are you trying to tarnish the image of our great United States with just your words?" Li Zhenfeng was truly about to be angered to death, but the lives of billions of people were at stake. He couldn't afford to flip the table and could only negotiate seriously, appealing to emotions and reasoning. "Madam Harrison, Mr. Rogers, we are all Earthlings. Why do you have to be so ruthless? We Yangzia have billions of people. Think about those innocent lives, the children, the elderly, the fathers, the mothers. Isn't the United States known as a free, democratic, and generous nation? Are you going to just watch billions of humans die?" Li Zhenfeng was truly helpless. Faced with the unyielding high-level officials of the United States, he could only compromise and play the sympathy card. As a woman, Harrison's heart wasn't so hardened that she could just watch billions of people die. Her expression showed some struggle. Rogers, seeing Harrison's reaction, immediately stood up and spoke loudly. "Minister Li, aren't you still suspecting that we, the United States, are behind this? Your thinking is shameless and ridiculous. The United States has helped weak countries all over the world and maintained world peace. We are generous, kind, and compassionate. Yet, you suspect us like this. You Yangzia people truly disappoint me." Rogers' words suddenly awakened Harrison. Her expression changed from struggling to determined, and she quickly said, "That's right, Minister Li. How could we possibly do such a thing? Moreover, we in the United States also have many immigrants from Yangzia, plus their descendants, about 6 million people. They joined the United States and are our legal citizens. Do you think we would create this virus and kill our own 6 million citizens?" Chapter 108. Harrison's words made Li Zhenfeng's mouth twitch. Truly, shamelessness knows no bounds. As for the 6 million Yangzia, Chinese, immigrants in America, the American higher-ups had long wanted to take action against them. These 6 million Yangtze immigrants are very hard-working here, earning great wealth, and America is envious. They want to seize the wealth of these 6 million people for themselves, and this gene-targeting virus is perfect for eliminating them. That way, there would be no Yangtze ethnicity to be wary of. The lazy people within America could find more jobs and wouldn't have to compete with the diligent Yangtze descendants. Li Zhenfeng was so angry that his chest heaved violently. He felt that soft approaches were almost impossible to make them hand over the treatment method. Then, only tough measures would work. Li Zhenfeng stood up again, his back straight, and his tone lost its earlier gentleness. Madam Harrison, since you are so stubborn, Yangtze is not to be trifled with. Whether you admit it or not, as long as we believe it was you who did it, that's enough. Just like how you used washing powder to frame others for having weapons of mass destruction, we also believe you have genetic weapons. You just wait to receive our wrath. Harrison, Rogers, and a group of American senior officials were surprised that Li Zhenfeng would take such an attitude. After Li Zhenfeng's warning, he was about to lead the negotiation team away. Harrison stopped Li Zhenfeng, her tone serious, and said, Minister Li, we just signed many cooperation agreements with you and compensated you with a large amount of materials. Now you are slandering us. How is your behavior any different from that of Germany in the past? Li Zhenfeng almost laughed. Yangtze is now acting in self-defense, seeking hope for the survival of the nation, but is instead bitten back by the American monsters. Ha ha ha, Madam Harrison, think whatever you want. Just take care of yourselves. After Li Zhenfeng finished speaking, he turned and left with his people. Just as Li Zhenfeng was about to walk out of the conference room, Rogers's sinister voice sounded from behind. Minister Li, I advise you not to be so radical. If it weren't for Huanyu Technology's help, with Yangtze's current strength, we definitely wouldn't be afraid. Also, your billions of people consume so many resources every year. You eat so much meat that you are the cause of global warming. With so many of you, how much fresh water resources are wasted? If the earth didn't have you, it would be especially wonderful. Li Zhenfeng was almost amused. Rogers's words couldn't stand any scrutiny. Li Zhenfeng glared at this American Minister of Science and Technology. If there was an institution that could develop this kind of gene virus, this Ministry of Science and Technology must be one of the main culprits, or it was created by a department under him. And Rogers's words just now clearly carried the usual American tone of slander. What does global warming have to do with Yangtze? He even slandered Yangtze people for eating too much meat, which is the cause of global warming. This is outrageous. After decades of development, the living standards of Yangtze people have improved, and they jumped out to condemn it. When they were eating and drinking heavily, why did no one accuse them? These people have ugly faces, and even groundlessly slander Yangtze people for wasting fresh water. In fact, the rich people in America are the real wasters, such as the Kardashian family, who never turn off the faucets in their homes. And ordinary Yangtze people are very frugal, using bathwater to flush toilets and water flowers. Turning off the tap and turning off the lights are all ingrained saving ideas in Yangtze people's minds. Such an excellent nation is constantly smeared by these villains. Now, these beasts have even created biochemical weapons. Li Zhenfeng looked at Rogers indifferently and said, Mr. Rogers, remember what you said today. We will not sit idly by. Your sinful actions will eventually be severely punished. After Li Zhenfeng finished speaking, he left with his people. There was no need for them to continue negotiating with these people. In fact, before coming, Li Zhenfeng knew that there would be basically no results from the talks. The other side wants you to die with all their heart. Only when you die can they sleep peacefully. Since that's the case, then let's speak with strength. Chapter 109. Minister Li Zhenfeng, in anger, led the Yangtze delegation away from the American White House and returned to Yangtze. These Americans were stubborn and determined to put Yangtze to death. Li Zhenfeng's team had completely given up any illusions about the negotiations. In the White House conference room, Harrison frowned and said, What do we do now? Yangtze is insisting that we did it. If they really send troops to attack our homeland, what should we do? Secretary of Defense Schneider said at this time. If Chen Yu of Universal Technology helps the Yangtze army, we will indeed have a great disadvantage, but they still have no evidence. This kind of war is called aggression. When the time comes, we will unite the countries of the world to condemn Yangtze. They are an extremely face-saving country and will definitely compromise and come to us for negotiations again. Rogers also said. Okay, Humph, as Rogers said, we hold the fate of the Yangtze people in our hands. I don't believe they would really dare to attack our homeland. Li Zhenfeng didn't know the conversation between Harrison, Rogers, and Schneider after he left. But the American high-level officials underestimated the spirit of the Yangtze people. In this moment of life and death, the Yangtze people will not be indecisive. In the southern Yangtze military port, hundreds of warships of various types had gathered into 3 aircraft carrier battle groups, ready to go. Cao Guangde and several high-level military officers stood in the command room of the Fujian aircraft carrier, waiting for the order from their superiors to send troops. Suddenly, the red dedicated satellite phone in the command room rang. Cao Guangde picked it up and held it to his ear. An old man's stern voice sounded inside, "You can set off." This was the voice of the chief. Cao Guangde received the order, hung up the phone, and shouted to everyone. "Set off! For the sake of the country, we must win." 3 aircraft carrier battle groups, hundreds of warships, and hundreds of submarines set off together towards the depths of the Pacific Ocean. As soon as the Yangtze aircraft carrier left the port, the United States learned of this news through civilian surveillance satellites in space. The White House immediately established an Emergency Operations Command Center. Secretary of Defense Schneider opened the satellite monitoring screen and said, "Currently, Yangtze has assembled their strongest naval fleet and is rushing towards the Pacific Ocean. Soon, they will encounter our 2 aircraft carrier battle groups deployed in Hawaii. I think they are just bluffing. We will send 2 aircraft carriers to intercept them. I don't believe they would really dare to attack." Harrison nodded and said, "Okay, Schneider, immediately send an order to the Hawaiian military base to have them stand by at all times, ready to intercept the Yangtze Navy." "Yes, Madam Harrison." The 3 Yangtze aircraft carrier fleets rushed at full speed, reaching the waters off Hawaii in just over a day. And through satellite radar, the Yangtze fleet had already learned that there were 2 American aircraft carrier battle groups intercepting them ahead. In the command room of the Fujian aircraft carrier, the captain of the Fujian reported to Cao Guangde. "General Cao, these 2 American aircraft carrier battle groups are blocking our way. What should we do?" Cao Guangde looked ahead. Although the distance was still far and he couldn't see the other side, Cao Guangde's eyes were firm. "Fight! If they don't let us pass, sink them. This time, we must break into the territorial waters of the American mainland." "Okay, General, I will order all warship weapon systems to be ready to launch at any time." At this moment, in space, Chen Yu's homeworld-class spaceship was returning to Earth at a speed of 600 km per second. Chen Yu looked at the vast and boundless starry sky, which was so deep and terrifying. The stars he could see were perhaps a galaxy like the Milky Way, millions, tens of millions, or even billions or tens of billions of light years away. The vastness of the universe was unimaginable to Chen Yu. Looking at this vast and boundless deep space, he felt a sense of boldness, a heroic feeling of conquering the stars. "Ah, I really want to repair the faster-than-light warp engine as soon as possible. I want to see those stars hundreds of light years away, and the worlds of those advanced civilizations. Captain, as long as we work hard, when the Level 2 civilization fleet arrives in 9 months, we may be able to temporarily seize their 300 times the speed of light engine. Then you can travel in the nearby star fields, maybe you will discover unexpected treasures." "Hehe, good, then I will go to see the space outside the solar system. Scientists say that the diameter of the solar system is 1 light year, and that there is a mysterious protective shield at the edge of the solar system that all human probes cannot fly out of. I want to see if I can fly out. When the time comes, you will know when you go to see it, and I can tell you a piece of information. The location where Mothership 1 fell from warp space 10,000 years ago was near this protective shield at the edge of your solar system. At that time, I detected abnormal space fluctuations and a peculiar energy field. That's how our warp engine was damaged, and then it fell from warp space into your solar system. So, what exactly is at the edge of the solar system? Is there really a god protecting Earth? Protecting the solar system? Don't be silly, that's just a very small area at the edge of your solar system. As long as other civilizations don't come in from that area, your solar system is still weak and vulnerable. Okay, but when we have the ability to travel at the speed of light in interstellar space, we can go to the area you mentioned. I'm very curious. Even the warp engine of your level 7 civilization's spaceship can be messed up. What exactly is there? Captain, I also want to know very much. I have been studying that strange energy field. If I return there and collect more data about that energy field, I may be able to analyze what it is. Okay, let's talk about it after the level 2 civilization fleet arrives in 9 months. Okay. Chen Yu will be back on Earth in half a day, and at this moment, in the Pacific Ocean. The 3 Yangtze aircraft carrier battle groups have encountered the 2 American aircraft carrier fleets stationed in Hawaii head-on. Cao Guangde, holding binoculars, could already see the dense fleet groups on the opposite side. Hee. They really haven't given up. They're hiding so many fleets at our doorstep. General, what do we do now? It's not a solution to keep consuming like this. Cao Guangde, looking at the American aircraft carrier group opposite him through the binoculars, ordered. Send them a radio message and tell them to make way, or they will bear the consequences. Chapter 110. In the Pacific Ocean, on the Yangtze Fujian aircraft carrier, a radio communication signal was sent to the American fleet in the opposite sea area. I am Michael, captain of the American Vincent aircraft carrier. Cao Guangde picked up the walkie-talkie and said in a serious tone. I am Cao Guangde, commander of the Yangtze fleet. I am notifying your American fleet to clear the direction of our advance within 1 hour, or you will be responsible for the consequences. On the opposite side, Michael looked gloomy. Previously, he had personally witnessed 4 aircraft carriers of his navy being sunk by Chen Yu's spaceship from Yangtze. Thousands of American sailors drowned on the spot. At this moment, Michael's heart was still full of grief and anger, so his words were also a bit impolite. So it's General Cao. Where are you going? The Pacific Ocean has always been the sea area where our American Navy roams. You'd better return the way you came. Michael still couldn't accept the fact that the United States was declining, and still thought he was the king of the sea, speaking with the arrogance of the past. Ha ha ha, in the past, your United States dominated the Pacific Ocean, turning this vast high sea into your training ground, but today is different from the past, Captain Michael. If you don't give way within 1 hour, don't blame me for being ruthless. About 45 minutes passed, and the 2 American aircraft carrier fleets on the opposite side showed no intention of moving. Cao Guangde took down the telescope, his expression already extremely cold. Okay, it seems you are really determined not to give way, then we don't have to endure it anymore. Listen to my order, launch torpedoes, lock on to the 2 aircraft carriers, I want to sink them. The captain and senior officials next to him received the order and immediately issued it to all Yangtze fleets. Just 3 minutes later, the captain of the Fujian aircraft carrier said excitedly. General Cao, all missiles have locked onto the target, please press the launch button yourself. Cao Guangde lifted the cover of a red button in front of him, and without thinking, he pressed it without hesitation. Cao Guangde knew that pressing this button was equivalent to truly going to war with the United States. But he had to do this. Now that the virus is raging inside Yangtze, he must deter the United States as soon as possible and make them hand over the treatment methods. At this moment, on the Vincent aircraft carrier, Michael looked contemptuously at the Yangtze fleet on the opposite side. He didn't believe in his heart that the Yangtze Navy would really do it. The last time he did it, it was Chen Yu, the ruthless man. The Yangtze fleet has never launched a missile from beginning to end. In the hearts of the American Navy, they have always believed that the Yangtze Navy is a paper tiger and will not take the initiative to attack. And under this habitual cognition, Michael saw a scene that made his scalp tingle. I saw flames rising from the large destroyers on the opposite side. That was the flame produced when the missiles were launched from the missile wells. Those missiles dragged long tail flames and headed straight for their side. Michael was completely numb. In the sky, there were at least dozens of missiles. Moreover, on the sea surface, you can also see the torpedoes launched by nuclear submarines, creating white air bubbles underwater. Before Michael could order an interception, the American aircraft carrier battle group's autonomous defense system was activated. Harsh alarms sounded around, and the close-in defense guns on the aircraft carrier and the anti-missile missiles on the nearby destroyers began to lock on to the incoming missiles at the same time, and then automatically launched. The United States anti-missile weapons are indeed well deserved. Just now, Yangtze launched nearly 100 missiles in total. Almost 90% were intercepted, but because Yangtze's attack was too sudden, the United States was not prepared. Even if 10% of the missiles hit their aircraft carrier, they could basically paralyze or even sink the aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier itself is a carrier for transporting carrier-based aircraft. Its attack power is more reflected in the carrier-based aircraft taking off from the offshore to strike. Now that the opponent's carrier-based aircraft has not taken off, it is similar to an ordinary civilian cruise ship, except that it has more close-in defense guns and anti-missile missiles. Dense explosions erupted in the sky, which were caused when Yangtze missiles were intercepted. However, there were still several missiles that hit the two American aircraft carriers. Suddenly, the aircraft carrier was filled with flames. The TNT weight in these missiles was several hundred kilograms. Once the explosion occurred, the power would be very large. The aircraft carrier can't withstand a few such missiles. Moreover, there are even more powerful ones. The torpedoes launched by Yangtze's nuclear submarines are almost impossible for American aircraft carriers to intercept at such a close distance. Rumble! Rumble! The bottom of the two aircraft carriers exploded violently, with flames soaring into the sky, and the entire aircraft carrier was shaking. In the command room of the Vincent aircraft carrier, Michael stood firm with difficulty, his expression changing from the previous disdain to horror. Madman, madman, Chen Yu is a madman, and the Yangtze Navy has also become a madman. They actually dare to fire, this is provoking a war, Yangtze should be condemned by the whole world. Michael was roaring, and the adjutant next to him quickly reminded. Captain, do we want to counterattack? Michael was furious and shouted. Counterattack, of course counterattack, we can't sit still and wait for death. Okay. The adjutant picked up the wireless telephone and immediately sent orders to other warships, ordering them to freely attack the Yangtze fleet on the opposite side. In the command room of the Fujian aircraft carrier, Cao Guang looked at the fiery scene on the opposite side, his expression did not fluctuate much. General, the destroyers on the opposite side will definitely launch missiles to fight back next, what should we do? Cao Guang's eyes became sharp, and his eyes became even colder. In that case, then we will continue to launch missiles, give me a complete annihilation of these two American aircraft carrier groups. Okay, Roger. Chapter 111. At Cao Guang's command, Yangtze's naval destroyers, attack ships, frigates, and nuclear submarines unleashed their fury. Hundreds of warships fired missiles like they were free, targeting every vessel in the American aircraft carrier battle group. The Yangtze fleet went all out this time, nearly concentrating all its naval power, with several times more combat-capable warships than the American side. Because the distance was so short, the American carrier group was caught off guard, and their warships couldn't form a defense at all. The missiles from the American Aegis destroyers were hit by Yangtze's missiles before they could even be launched. Even if a missile from an American destroyer flew towards the Yangtze fleet, it would be intercepted by Yangtze's interceptor missiles. This was a completely one-sided massacre. In just half an hour, more than 100 American warships were all hit. The aircraft carriers were engulfed in huge flames, with one carrier already half submerged. Looking at the tilting aircraft carrier, Mike Hearn felt despair. His carelessness and arrogance allowed the Yangtze Navy to succeed. Captain, let's escape in the lifeboats. Our aircraft carrier is going down. The adjutant said anxiously to Mike Hearn. At this moment, Mike Hearn truly realized that Yangtze was no longer the Yangtze it once was. They had already changed since Huanyu technology sank their 4 aircraft carriers. Damn it, hateful. You Yangtze people are so despicable. Mike Hearn spat and quickly caught up with the adjutant, reaching the edge of the deck and jumping into a lifeboat. After taking care of the 2 American aircraft carrier battle groups blocking the way, Cao Guang waved his hand and headed towards the American mainland. Damn it! They are lunatics. American mainland, in the White House Emergency Operations Command Center. All the American senior officials had gloomy faces, just now. The Yangtze fleet, with an overwhelming force, annihilated their 2 aircraft carrier battle groups, more than 100 warships. It seems that this time Yangtze is not just talking, they are serious. As the Secretary of Defense, Schneider was very angry at Yangtze's actions. Madam President, we must retaliate. I suggest using intercontinental missiles to sink all their aircraft carriers in the Pacific Ocean. Schneider's proposal was supported by most of the indignant American high-level officials. Harrison frowned and pondered, Yangtze seemed to be really pushed to the brink this time. It's a joke, their own country's people are facing a crisis of extinction, wouldn't they be pushed to the brink? This was originally a matter provoked by the Americans themselves. They always thought they were the war madmen. But don't forget that the Yangtze of the past was also a country built by the bloodshed and sacrifice of its ancestors. In the White House Operations Command Center, many senior officials whispered to each other. They put forward their own suggestions, most of which were to launch intercontinental missiles for interception. If they really let those hundreds of Yangtze warships approach the American mainland, they would really be caught off guard. After all, these Yangtze warships might have nuclear warheads on them. If they launched a few at them, who could withstand it? After careful consideration, Harrison stood up and ordered. Okay, this is a war initiated by Yangtze, we are acting in self-defense. I announce that the Intercontinental Missile Force will be activated immediately, locking onto the Yangtze aircraft carrier battle group, and annihilating them in the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Harrison's order made the American senior officials at the scene applaud and celebrate, as if they had already annihilated the Yangtze fleet. They seemed very confident in their intercontinental missiles. The United States does have confidence, their intercontinental missiles are very advanced and have always been in a world-leading position. Among them, the Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile has a range of over 10,000 kilometers. It is very fast, the interception difficulty is quite high, and it can carry multiple nuclear warheads. Of course, the United States still does not dare to use nuclear bombs for attacks first. At most, they will use high-yield missiles, relying on their missile accuracy and interception difficulty. They felt it was more than enough to sink the Yangtze aircraft carrier. On the Yangtze side, they had long expected the power of American long-range missiles. They have also been quietly researching interception technology for American missiles in recent years. Just a few months ago, Chen Yu obtained those incomplete technical documents given by the Yangtze official, and Chen Yu later supplemented those materials for the country. In Chen Yu's view, they are just some second-rate, low-level technologies of civilization. But in the eyes of Yangtze's official military experts, they are very sci-fi technologies. And among those technologies, there is a missile interception technology that has been applied to actual combat by Yangtze military experts. This anti-missile weapon has been installed on the 055 destroyers, so the current Yangtze aircraft carrier battle group is not afraid of American missiles at all. Hundreds of Yangtze warships continued to advance towards the American mainland. The next day, Chen Yu's Homeworld-class spaceship finally arrived at Earth. This time, because it was filled with hundreds of millions of tons of ore, the inertia was too great, and it took 3 hours just to decelerate. The Homeworld-class spaceship slowly docked at the space station in near-Earth orbit, directly connected to Chen Yu's space elevator below. The hundreds of millions of tons of ore in the spaceship will be transported to Earth via the space elevator. Chen Yu returned to Yangtze on a landing ship, leaving the task of transporting the ore to the automatic program to complete. He had to hurry back to Yangtze to study the new virus that was ravaging the land. Chapter 112. In the scorching summer, 3 Yangtze aircraft carrier battle groups, consisting of hundreds of warships, continued to race across the Pacific Ocean, heading towards American territorial waters. In the American Washington, D.C., inside the White House's temporary strategic office, orders had been issued to the American Intercontinental Missile Forces to strike the Yangtze carrier groups. At the American Area 51 military base, dozens of missile silos were opened. Under the operation of the missile forces, American military satellites easily locked onto the Yangtze fleet in the Central Pacific. General CAO, can our interception system intercept all of these dozens of missiles? Considering the yield of these missiles, one missile is powerful enough to sink an aircraft carrier. What if we miss one? CAO Guang smiled and said. Don't worry, the anti-missile system currently equipped on our destroyers is the latest technology provided by Huanyu Technology. Rest assured. The captain of the Fujian aircraft carrier breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing that it was provided by Huanyu Technology. Previously, the story of Chen Yu of Huanyu Technology wreaking havoc on the American aircraft carrier groups had spread throughout the military. Huanyu Technology's technology was crushing the entire world. The captain of the Fujian aircraft carrier nodded and said. That's good. With Huanyu Technology's anti-missile technology, we'll definitely be fine. Chen Yu had just returned to the Huanyu Technology Park on a landing craft, preparing to quickly research the virus that was ravaging Yangtze, when he received a reminder from the AI. Captain, the United States just launched 80 ballistic missiles, heading towards the Yangtze fleet in the Pacific Ocean. Do you want to help intercept them? Oh. Did the United States actually take action? Not really. Because of the rampant virus within Yangtze, the higher-ups believe it was done by the United States. Minister Li went to negotiate with the United States higher-ups without success. Now, the Yangtze Navy is heading straight for the United States mainland to threaten the United States into handing over the virus treatment technology. A few hours ago, the Yangtze fleet annihilated 2 American aircraft carrier groups off the coast of Hawaii, so it's officially war now. Chen Yu narrowed his eyes. It seemed that things had been very turbulent in the world the past few days while he was gone. Did the United States really release these viruses? Captain, according to the intrusion into the American network, no direct evidence of the United States developing and releasing the virus has been found, but I have found that the American Department of Science and Technology, as well as the Biochemical Genetics Research Institute, have been collecting gene samples from Yangtze people and White Bear Country people for the past 50 years. And in recent years, some professors at Yangtze universities have been very ignorant. In order to show off their academic achievements, they have actually published the gene maps of Yangtze people they researched on international science websites. American scientists have collected these gene maps and conducted in-depth research. This circumstantial evidence indicates that the United States is the biggest suspect in creating this targeted virus. After listening to the AI's explanation, Chen Yu felt extremely angry in his heart. No need to suspect. If I say the United States did it, then the United States did it. It seems I've been too kind, giving them too many chances to breathe. This time, I won't be soft anymore. I'm going to completely overthrow their regime. AI, send 3 alien frigates to assist the Yangtze Navy. We need to research a treatment for the virus as soon as possible. Okay, Captain. Then, 3 frigates flew out of the Homeworld-class spaceship in space, heading straight for the Pacific Ocean to assist the Yangtze fleet. Chen Yu dialed Cao Guang's phone, as he had to inform him about sending the 3 frigates. On the Fujian aircraft carrier, Cao Guang's satellite phone rang. When he picked it up and looked, Cao Guang's expression immediately revealed a happy smile. Hello. Chen Yu, have you returned? Yes, General Cao, I just returned to Earth. That's great. Currently, Yangtze is suffering from a new type of virus. You have to be careful not to get infected. General Cao, don't worry, I will research a treatment and vaccine for this virus. Can you develop a vaccine? But our Yangtze's top medical professors have been unable to research a vaccine and medicine. I will do my best. Don't worry, General Cao, our Yangtze won't be destroyed. Cao Guang was very gratified. Chen Yu's confident attitude made him feel hope. Thank you, Chen Yu. By the way, General Cao, I have sent 3 spaceships to assist you in attacking the American mainland. They will intercept those American missiles in advance, so you can charge forward with confidence. Haha, I knew you kid would definitely help us. General Cao, I look forward to your triumphant return. Good. Chen Yu hung up the phone with Cao Guang and then began to devote himself to virus research. Chen Yu asked the newly built Fengkeng Hospital in Zhongcheng to send 20 confirmed patients to the Huanyu Technology Park. Chen Yu was not worried about himself and his family being infected, because they had all been injected with the Level 7 civilization's primary gene modification agent. Their bodily functions had undergone tremendous changes. Dealing with this virus was simply child's play with the Level 7 civilization's gene technology. Chen Yu extracted the targeted virus from the 20 people for research. Chen Qingzi, the best military hospital expert and professor in Zhongcheng, led his team of a dozen people to assist Chen Yu in researching the virus vaccine. Those 20 confirmed cases were brought by them in a laboratory in an experimental building in Huanyu Technology Park. Chen Qingzi and more than a dozen researchers, fully armed, wrapped themselves up tightly. But they were all staring at Chen Yu in disbelief. He was actually not wearing a biochemical protective suit and was observing the activity of the virus under an electron microscope. Chen Qingzi stepped forward and said to Chen Yu seriously, Mr. Chen, how can you touch the virus without wearing a protective suit? It's very dangerous. We can't watch you get infected. Please put on a protective suit immediately. Chen Yu waved his hand impatiently and said, No need, I won't be infected. Chen Qingzi was speechless. Did he think he was Superman? They had been studying this virus for more than a month. Its infectivity was extremely strong, and the incubation period was at least 1 month. Moreover, the late-stage lesions occurred extremely quickly, and could kill people in the last 2 or 3 days, with a mortality rate of over 90%. Mr. Chen, you can't be so careless about your own life. You are an important talent of our country. We can't watch you get infected. Chen Qingzi waved to a few of his students behind him. A few students in biochemical protective suits were about to come up and force Chen Yu to put on a protective suit. Chapter 113. Seeing the students about to attack him, Chen Yu forced himself to put on a protective suit. Chen Yu sighed. He knew Professor Chen meant well, so he explained. Professor Chen, I really don't need to wear a protective suit. My body has been strengthened, and this virus won't affect me. Chen Qingzi's eyes widened. His body had been strengthened? As an expert in the field of biological science, he had cooperated with the military for many years, researching many personal body enhancement projects. When the Americans sent biochemical modified people to Yangzia to cause trouble before, Chen Qingzi believed that human enhancement and modification would be the same as those American modified people. Each one was tall and thick, like a Hulk. Chen Yu laughed when he heard Chen Qingzi's understanding of biochemical modified people. Hehe, Professor Chen, my technology is far ahead of the United States, so you don't have to worry about whether I will be infected. Since Chen Yu's body had been strengthened and he insisted on not wearing a protective suit, Chen Qingzi had no choice but to compromise. He needed to devote his energy to working with Chen Yu to study the virus and develop a special medicine or vaccine as soon as possible. Chen Qingzi asked eagerly. Mr. Chen, what are your thoughts after observing this virus? Chen Yu used the instrument to detect the virus's ribonucleic acid and read the previous research reports of Yangzia biological scientists. Then he came to a conclusion that this virus only targets a dominant gene in the pure Yangzia bloodline. Professor Chen, I already have preliminary research results. This virus relies on a dominant gene in our Yangzia people. Then I only need to start from this point. Next, I will do some experiments. I believe that within 3 days, a special medicine and vaccine will be available. Chen Qingzi's eyes widened. Where did Chen Yu get this confidence? But they had come to Huanya Science and Technology Park before. Everything here was like arriving at an alien civilization. The level of technology was so high that they had never heard of or seen it before. Now that Chen Yu had this confidence, Chen Qingzi inexplicably believed it. Mr. Chen, if you find a cure, you will be the savior of Yangzia, a sage for the ages. Chen Yu waved his hand. He really didn't care about these so-called titles now. Now Chen Yu's vision had become very broad, and he would no longer be limited to the 1-acre 3-point land of the earth. His future goal was to move towards the stars. Professor Chen, don't praise me so much. As a Yangzia person with blood, I should do my part in the face of this national crisis. Good job. Chen Yu continued to devote himself to the research of virus-specific drugs and vaccines. During these days, Chen Yu studied various knowledge with the intelligent brain every day, including the field of biological science. In addition, Chen Yu's current brain development level could be said that he was the strongest medical scientist on the entire Earth. After only 1 day of research, Chen Yu mastered the protein structure of the virus and completely analyzed the internal genome of the virus. Also, with the blessing of the intelligent brain's powerful computing power, Chen Yu concluded that these genomes can affect certain specific genes. And the dominant gene in the Yangzia people's genes was one of the genes that would be affected. Ha ha ha. So that's it. These American devils are quite capable. They can actually develop this kind of virus. Chen Yu shouted happily in front of an analyzer. If the American biochemical gene scientists knew that Chen Yu only used less than a day, they would be shocked if they figured out the results of their decades of research. Chen Qingzi and his students, who were busy next to him, were all attracted by Chen Yu's excited shout. Chen Qingzi stepped forward and asked eagerly. Mr. Chen, do you have any new discoveries? Chen Yu said with an excited expression. Professor Chen, I have found the reason why the virus targets the Yangzia people's genes. Next, I will experiment with some drugs on the virus's specific gene tolerance. Once I find the drug component that can kill the virus, we can make targeted drugs specifically for this virus. Chen Qingzi was shocked, and his students around him were also shocked. Although these were just Chen Qingzi's students, they were all top students in the national medical field. Of course they could understand what Chen Yu meant. In less than a day, he had already found the reason in the virus gene sequence that targeted the Yangzia people's genes. This was simply a fantasy. At least it was impossible in the current medical field on Earth. Chen Qingzi said with wide eyes. Mr. Chen, have you really found which special gene sequence in the virus affects the genes of the Yangtze people? Yes, come here, I'll show you my research results. Chen Qingzi stepped forward and walked to Chen Yu's workbench, looking at the data on the instrument and the dense white and black grids. These were some gene code sequences, and only experts in this field could understand them. Chen Qingzi couldn't see clearly through the protective suit. He simply gritted his teeth and took off all the heavy protective suits on his body. The students next to him exclaimed when they saw Professor Chen take off his protective suit. Professor Chen, why did you take off your protective suit? Yes, what if you get infected? You are over 60 years old, and your resistance is not as good as before. Who knew that? Chen Qingzi waved his hand and said excitedly. It doesn't matter. My old bones are not so easy to die, and besides, I believe in Mr. Chen's research results. He will definitely be able to create a special medicine. After Chen Qingzi took off his protective suit, he felt refreshed. He stepped forward and stared closely at the data and gene codes on the instrument at Chen Yu's workbench. The more Chen Qingzi looked, the more shocked he became. Chapter 114. After taking off his protective suit, Chen Qingzi felt his vision clear up. He concentrated intently on Chen Yu's research report and data, his eyes widening as he exclaimed. Ah, wonderful! To think of using this method to cross-reference the gene encoding, why didn't we think of it before? Hey! Why is the beginning of the virus's gene sequence so similar to a lung disease virus I once researched? And the end is like another virus that once swept the world. This must be a man-made gene sequence, damn it! A group of Chen Qingzi's students also gathered around Chen Yu's workstation, examining and cross-referencing the virus's gene encoding. Half an hour later, Chen Qingzi reached a shocking conclusion. The lung disease virus that ravaged the world a few years ago was actually of the same origin as this virus. No wonder the risk of infection is so high. This virus combines the high transmission rate of the lung disease virus, combined with the dominant genetic characteristics that target Yangtze people. This is simply a weapon of mass destruction to exterminate a race, even more violent than nuclear weapons. After reviewing all the virus gene sequences and research data, Chen Qingzi flew into a rage. Damn it, damn it! This must be a premeditated act of genocide. How can there be such vicious humans in the world, actually harming their own kind in this way? How hateful, how hateful! Chen Qingzi almost spat out a mouthful of blood. In his 40 years of research in the medical field, he had never seen such a crazy and dangerous study. Chen Yu narrowed his eyes, looking at these research results. He was basically certain that the previously prevalent lung disease virus was very likely the same situation, artificially created. At the time, people thought it was a new type of virus discovered in wild animals, which then infected humans and caused the virus to mutate. As a result, the truth is now revealed, it was actually done by some scum. So, all of this was a conspiracy of the Americans, but in the end, the Americans didn't fare much better either. It is estimated that the virus was not fully developed at that time and mutated during the transmission process, causing people all over the world to be infected, including the Americans themselves. It was like hurting the enemy 1,000 and losing 800 of your own. Chen Yu patted the excited old professor, comforting him. Professor Chen, there's no need to be agitated. After we develop the specific drug, I will seek justice for Yangtze. But the most important thing for us now is to conduct in-depth research on the virus. Now that we've made a major breakthrough, let's hurry up and work. I will prepare some targeted synthetic antibiotics for the virus's gene sequence. Have your students test the virus's tolerance in batches. Once you find an ingredient that can kill the virus, report it immediately. Professor Chen nodded firmly. In the White House in America, in the strategic office, President Harrison and a group of America's top leaders were sitting together with unparalleled gloom. The 80 ballistic missiles launched earlier were all inexplicably intercepted hundreds of nautical miles away from the Yangtze fleet. This is the American missile force, which they are so proud of, launching intercontinental missiles. Damn it, they didn't even hit a hair on the enemy's head and exploded themselves. Defense Secretary Schneider stood up and explained. The missiles we launched were very likely intercepted by Chen Yu's spaceships. Now that Chen Yu has taken action and is helping the Yangtze fleet again, it's not easy for us. Harrison covered her temples with her hands. She asked anxiously. What do we do next? If the Yangtze fleet really arrives in our American West Coast territorial waters, the whole world will see that America basically can't beat Yangtze. The countries in the NATO military alliance that are still supporting us will definitely weaken their fear and assistance to us. It will be difficult for us to ask them for supplies in the future. The conference room fell silent. It seemed that they really couldn't find a good solution. Suddenly, a crazy person stood up. His expression was fierce, with a perverted smile, and he said, "Miss Harrison, while the Yangtze fleet still has some time to reach American waters, we can actually do this in advance." Chapter 115. Roger's insane suggestion shocked all the senior officials in the American Strategic Office. Harrison said with a very serious expression, "Secretary Rogers, if we really do this, wouldn't we be starting a world war?" Rogers said calmly, "Madam Harrison, just now, the Yangtze fleet annihilated our 2 aircraft carrier battle groups, hundreds of warships, causing the deaths of thousands of our people. Isn't this a declaration of war? They are the ones provoking a world war. While we still have control over the NATO military alliance, let's unite the 32 strongest countries in the world and launch a general offensive against Yangtze. Even if they have universal technology spaceships, they will definitely not be able to withstand the attacks of so many countries." Rogers' crazy suggestion made the American senior officials present fall into deep thought. Of course, they knew the current predicament of the United States. If the Yangtze fleet arrives, they will no longer be able to control the NATO alliance. American Secretary of Defense Schneider stood up and said, "I agree with Rogers' suggestion. We must now integrate our allies and fight against Yangtze together. This is our last chance." Schneider, like Rogers, now hates Yangtze very much. It was Yangtze that caused them to lose 6 aircraft carriers and thousands of soldiers. With the support of the 2 top American officials, some swing voters also began to waver. Especially the representatives of several Wall Street tycoons, who are the real masters of this country, representing American capitalism. Half an hour later, many hidden behind the scenes in the United States sent messages one after another, expressing their support for this resolution. These American consortia have recently been forced into a corner by Yangtze, and they have unanimously decided that this nation must be eliminated. After gaining the consent of most people, Harrison stood up solemnly and began to announce the order. "After the decision of all senior officials, I will issue a presidential order to start a full-scale war mode, unite all our allies, target Yangtze, and take action." A sinister arc appeared on the corner of Roger's mouth. He no longer cared about the lives of the Yangtze people, or even the lives of his own countrymen. He frantically wanted to have a full-scale contest with Yangtze in his heart, even if his own country would die many people, he didn't care. The efficiency of the United States is very fast. After the meeting, the order for a full-scale war was issued. All over the world, more than 30 American allies received war orders and launched a full-scale war against Yangtze. Recently, Yangtze has risen strongly in economy and military affairs, especially in economy, which has made many countries unable to hold their heads high. In the past, they still needed to import high-tech products from these countries. Now Yangtze can make them themselves, and also reduce the cost to cabbage prices and resell them to the world. This has caused a sharp decline in the income of these countries, and even domestic economies have problems. Even many developed countries can no longer afford the high welfare benefits at home. These countries are full of anger. It is Yangtze that has made their lives difficult. Now that they have received the notice from the boss of the United States, these countries have responded in unison, all gearing up to collectively attack Yangtze. 2 countries in Asia, Sakura country and Bangsa country, received the order to attack Yangtze, and their ignorant senior officials were unexpectedly excited. Because of geographical issues, they are very close to Yangtze and are the vanguards for attacking Yangtze. Also, among these 2 countries, one has a long-standing feud with Yangtze. Now that Yangtze has risen, they are frightened and trembling, fearing that Yangtze will seek revenge on them one day. The other Bangsa has no sovereignty and has been following the American boss to target Yangtze. They once deployed the American THAAD anti-missile weapon on their homeland to intercept Yangtze's missiles, making it difficult for Yangtze's missiles to fly out of Asia. They also often plunder Yangtze's excellent historical traditions, such as the Dragon Boat Festival, traditional Chinese medicine, tug of war, etc. They have all been taken to apply for World Heritage, making the world think that these cultures are from Bangsa country. They even said that the Lantern Festival, Confucianism, and even Lao Tzu and Confucius originated in their Bangsa country. This Nema's selection of the most annoying country in the world, Bangsa is none other than Bangsa. However, their domestic people think that Yangtze has robbed their culture, and therefore are very hostile to the Yangtze people. So Bangzi was very excited when he learned that he was going to attack Yangtze, as a loyal dog of the United States. Zhongcheng, in the Virus Research Laboratory of Universal Technology Park. Chen Yu's mind was reminded by the intelligent brain. Captain, just now, the United States sent the highest war order to the world, their 32 strongest allies. These countries will jointly launch a full-scale attack on Yangtze. Chen Yu was observing the tolerance of a virus to a certain drug under a microscope. Suddenly hearing this news, he immediately stopped his work. It seems that the United States is really anxious. This should be their last big move. I want to see what these clowns can make of it. I am worried that there is no excuse to rule the world. These guys have come to my door. Chen Yu ignored these countries and continued to look at the microscope to study drugs for treating viruses. When these countries jump around, he will come forward and wipe them all out. The Yangtze fleet is still on its way to the west coast of the United States. The world's mainstream media have all turned their guns and broadcast videos of the Yangtze fleet attacking the American aircraft carrier fleet. And condemned Yangtze for taking the lead in launching a war and attacking the American fleet. The United States has the right to unite its full strategic partner countries to attack Yangtze together. The first to respond were Sakura country and Bangzi country. They are closest to Yangtze, and their domestic missiles can easily hit Yangtze's territory. In the highest conference room in Yanjing, there were a dozen of Yangtze's top leaders. The United States has united their younger brothers and launched a full-scale war against us. I announce that the entire Yangtze will enter the highest state of combat readiness. These people first put in gene virus weapons, and now they are uniting dozens of countries to attack us. These devils really think that my Yangtze is easy to bully. I announce that if any country dares to fire the first shot, we will destroy them. The chief's tough speech made the blood of the senior officials present boil. How many years have passed, Yangtze is finally going to prove its strength. Having endured so many years, being regarded as a sick cat by the West, now Yangtze will let them see who is the real tiger. Bangzi and Sakura near Yangtze immediately began to deploy their missiles after receiving the order. They do not have long-range missiles exceeding 10,000 kilometers, but they have medium and short-range missiles of several thousand kilometers, but they are already sufficient to cover a large area of Yangtze's land. Sakura Prime Minister Tanabe Kameo came forward and went crazy, looking at a display screen showing the missile deployment of Sakura. Prime Minister, our missiles have been deployed and are ready to launch at any time. The Chief of Staff of the Self-Defense Forces next to him prompted. Okay, launch it for me. Only when Yangtze falls can our Sakura survive without worries. Chapter 116. Japanese Prime Minister, Tanabe Kameo, pressed the missile launch button, blindly confident because they had the backing of their American overlord. Even if they launched missiles at Yangtze, Yangtze wouldn't dare retaliate. Furthermore, the complete annihilation of the Japanese Navy's warships had pushed the accumulated anger of the Japanese High Command to its peak. Now, united with dozens of the world's most powerful nations to strike against Yangtze, they felt duty-bound to fire the first shot. It was as if history was repeating itself, just like decades ago, but this time, Yangtze was not the same as it once was. Inside the Supreme Council chamber in Yanjing, the chief and a group of top leaders watched the red dots rising from Japanese soil on the large screen. Defense Minister Su Chongqing said angrily. Humph, they truly are our sworn enemies. The moment they received instructions from their father, they attacked us. We couldn't find a reason to retaliate before, but now we have ample reason to strike back. Su Chongqing waved his hand, and the military representatives beside him began operating some equipment. Anti-missile weapons were activated at various military bases along Yangtze's coast, and missile silos opened one by one. Streams of white smoke burst from the missile silos as the anti-ballistic missiles, trailing long contrails, streaked into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Seeing the dense array of small dots rising along the coast, Su Chongqing shouted in the Supreme Council chamber. Report to the chief, anti-missile missiles to intercept Japanese missiles have been launched. Our newly developed anti-missile weapons incorporate missile technology that Huanyu technology previously helped us complete. After testing, the interception rate exceeds 93.45%. We launched 1.5 times more anti-missile missiles than Japan, so we can intercept almost all of their missiles. Immediately, applause erupted in the conference room. Just then, an alarm sounded in the conference room. All the high-ranking officials looked at the large screen, where another dense array of red dots appeared, this time taking off from within the borders of Bangzi, Korea. They were even closer to Yangtze's mainland. These American lackeys are acting so quickly, even the Bangzi, Koreans, can't restrain themselves. Immediately launch the next round of anti-missile interception. Just minutes later, along the eastern coast of Yangtze, several military bases closest to Bangzi, Korea, launched a dense barrage of missiles, heading straight for those red dots. Just as Yangtze launched another round of anti-missile missiles, the alarm in the conference room did not stop. The map in the conference room was zoomed out to show the entire Eurasian continent. They saw a massive rain of dense missiles coming from Europe, heading straight for Yangtze. Su Chongqing said angrily. Damn it, these North Alliance countries have all united to launch a general offensive, they really think we are easy to bully. Just as Su Chongqing was about to contact the Western military bases to intercept the missiles from the rear. On the big screen, countless dense dots suddenly rose from within the borders of the massive White Bear country, Russia, to the north of Yangtze. Judging by the trajectories of those dots, they were clearly missiles aimed at Europe. Many Yangtze high-ranking officials in the conference room stared wide-eyed. Li Zhenfeng pointed at those dots excitedly. Ha ha ha, those are our allies, the White Bear country, Russia, has taken action. They are helping us intercept the missiles coming from Europe. The chief also looked at this scene with satisfaction. At this moment, the red hotline in the Supreme Council chamber rang. The chief calmly picked it up, and a familiar voice sounded from within. Old brother, leave those hypocritical European things to me. I've wanted to make a move on them for a long time. I, the White Bear, will take care of your Yangtze's rear. You focus on dealing with the dogs to the east. The chief laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, old brother, then thank you. After this war is over, you must come to Yanjing. We haven't discussed important matters in a long time. The opposite side, President Putin, let out a hearty laugh. This important matter was definitely a big deal. If one landed on the ground, half a city would be destroyed. The targets of these missiles were all important military installations and bases within Yangtze. However, they were destined not to hit Yangtze and would be intercepted. In the airspace above the East Sea of Yangtze, Japanese missiles met with Yangtze's anti-missile missiles head-on. Yangtze's newest technology anti-missile missiles, like they had eyes, accurately hit the Japanese ballistic missiles. The interception rate exceeded 90%. In addition, Yangtze had enough anti-missile missiles, and all of Japan's missiles were intercepted. Bangzi, Korea, was closer to Yangtze, and their missiles would soon be able to hit Yangtze's territory. But Bangzi, Korea, never thought that in their north, the Goryeo, North Korea, who shared the same origin as them, would launch anti-missile weapons to intercept the missiles they fired at Yangtze. In fact, Goryeo, North Korea, had always received favors from Yangtze, and now that Yangtze was in trouble, how could they stand idly by? Although their anti-missile weapons were relatively backward, with an interception rate of less than 50%, Goryeo, North Korea, still launched interceptor missiles without hesitation to help Yangtze reduce the pressure. Although Yangtze had enough ability to intercept Bangzi's, Korea, missiles, Goryeo's, North Korea, move showed that they were standing on Yangtze's side. Now it was basically a world war, and choosing a side was very important. Once you chose the wrong side, you might end up being destroyed. Half of the missiles intercepted by Goryeo, North Korea, were destroyed by Yangtze's own interceptor missiles before entering Yangtze's territory. As a result, not a single missile fired by Bangzi, Korea, and Japan hit Yangtze. Japanese Prime Minister Tanabe Kameo looked at the radar screen, his expression as ugly as if he had eaten shit. How is this possible? Our missiles are medium-range ballistic missiles provided by the United States. They are fast and powerful. How could Yangtze intercept them all? How could this be? Chapter 117. P.S. Huaxia will be uniformly changed to Yangtze from this chapter onwards. The countries and events involved in the novel are all existing in a parallel world. Please do not overinterpret. Japanese Prime Minister, Tanabe Kameo, looked frantic, not believing that Yangtze's interceptor missiles were so powerful. The same scene played out in the Strategic Command Center of the Korean Peninsula. Korean President, Yoon Seo, stared numbly at the radar screen. The reason they clung to America's leg was to prevent the Northern Goryeo, who shared the same ancestry, from reclaiming them. Now that half of the missiles they launched were intercepted by Goryeo, the Korean Peninsula's high-ranking officials were particularly apprehensive. The Northern Goryeo was reckless, not caring who they offended, focusing solely on messing with the Korean peninsula. If America and the Northern Alliance were to lose this war. Inside the American White House's highest strategic command center, Harrison received calls from the top leaders of Japan, the Korean peninsula, Germany, England, France, and over 30 other Northern Alliance countries. They had just launched a missile attack on Yangtze, but none of them landed on Yangtze's mainland. Yangtze had strong firepower support from the White Bear country in the rear, their own important military bases along the eastern coast, and assistance from Goryeo. Now, to attack their mainland, the only option was to enter through Southeast Asia. Harrison and a group of American high-ranking officials frowned. The first round of attacks had been easily thwarted by Yangtze. Moreover, Yangtze had the White Bear, a country with extremely strong military power, as an ally. This made it even more difficult for America to destroy Yangtze. "Speak, what should we do next?" Harrison asked. Schneider immediately stood up, already having a second operational plan. "Madam Harrison, esteemed high-ranking officials, I have a plan. India in Asia has always wanted to replace Yangtze's position in Asia. They have had multiple large-scale frictions with Yangtze on the border. I think we can form an alliance with them. They would surely be happy to do so. Once they break through Yangtze from the southwest, we will have the opportunity to launch a fatal blow against Yangtze amidst the chaos." Harrison, Rogers, and many other American high-ranking officials approved of Schneider's plan. "Good, Schneider, you will personally handle this matter. Be sure to facilitate cooperation with India as soon as possible. We don't have much time." "Ha ha ha, Madam Harrison, I have already contacted the Indian President. They are very willing to cooperate with us, as long as we promise them that 30% of Yangtze's southern territory will be ceded to them, and that they will replace Yangtze as a permanent member of the UN Security Council." Harrison didn't care about these things now and nodded directly in agreement. "Good, promise those Indians. They are our tools to deal with Yangtze. We can give them some benefits when the time comes. I will discuss the attack details with them immediately." Rogers was even more ruthless, suggesting finding more countries in South Asia to cooperate against Yangtze, which was also approved by the president. Although these countries had weak combat capabilities, many of them were anti-Chinese, and America had a great influence here in the past. At this time, finding them to cooperate and promising them some benefits after destroying the great nation of Yangtze would make these countries eagerly cooperate with America. So, Rogers contacted Indonesia and the Philippines in South Asia. These two were once America's lackeys, especially hating Yangtze, feeling that Yangtze had robbed them of their interests in Asia, especially at sea. These small countries, without major weapons, could only send their warships to the southern sea to harass Yangtze. Now, the Yangtze Navy was basically gathered together and heading towards the American west coast, leaving the interior weak and empty. This was the best time for these small countries to take action. One day later, Zhong City, Universal Science and Technology Park. Cheers rang out in the laboratory. After more than a day of experiments, Chen Yu finally found a specific therapeutic drug for this gene-targeted virus. This was also the result of Chen Yu, Chen Qingzi, and his dozen students testing thousands of drug elements. However, Chen Yu's prior identification of the pathogenic gene code and thorough analysis of the virus's ribonucleic acid were the most important steps. In the laboratory, Chen Qingzi held Chen Yu's hand, his face full of tears. "Mr. Chen, thank you so much. You have saved the entire Yangtze. You are a hero of our nation." Chen Qingzi's students had long taken off their heavy protective suits, all looking at Chen Yu with gratitude, each with a sincere smile on their faces. Chen Yu waved his hand. "Everyone doesn't need to thank me so much. As a conscientious and passionate Yangtze person, I cannot sit idly by. If this virus wants to exterminate our Yangtze people, I will not let those despicable people get their way. Next, I will let them know the consequences of doing such a heinous thing." Chen Qingzi and his students looked at Chen Yu's cold face at this moment, actually feeling a soaring murderous intent from him. The three Yangtze aircraft carrier groups, hundreds of warships, after another day of sailing, finally approached the west coast of North America. At this moment, in the American Highest Strategic Command Center, Harrison and a group of American high-ranking officials had solemn expressions. Yesterday, they had united 32 countries of the Northern Alliance. They launched a large-scale missile attack on Yangtze's mainland, but not a single missile landed on their territory. After a day of strategic deployment, America had reformulated a strategic plan against Yangtze. Many countries in South Asia actively responded, especially India, Indonesia, and the Philippines, who were particularly enthusiastic about resisting Yangtze. Madam Harrison, we have already reached a military alliance with many countries in South Asia, and they will immediately take the next step against Yangtze. Schneider reported. Good, the Yangtze fleet has already approached our west coast. You immediately notify our allies in South Asia to take action immediately. Yes, Madam Harrison. Subsequently, the White House's operational orders were issued to many countries in South Asia. Especially India, which had long been eager to act, possessed a mysterious confidence, believing that its national strength far surpassed Yangtze. This war was an opportunity to prove that they were the Asian hegemon. Therefore, India almost took out its trump card, the Agni V missile, with a range of 5,000 kilometers. Not only that, India also sent a large number of soldiers to the border to harass Yangtze. In the South Asian Sea, the joint fleet composed of Indonesia and the Philippines was also heading north on a large scale, determined to invade Yangtze's sea area. In the Yanqing Supreme Conference Room, Minister of Defense Su Chongqing pointed to the big screen and reported the current war situation to all the high-ranking officials. Everyone sees that now, in South Asia and the Southwest, there are countries that have reached a strategic alliance with America. They are invading our borders and territorial waters. I suggest that we launch a full-scale counterattack against them. Chapter 118. Numerous high-ranking officials, upon seeing the strategic dynamics relayed by the satellites on the map, were filled with righteous indignation. Li Zhenfeng proposed. I suggest we take immediate action. Since we've reached this point, our Yangtze will absolutely not be a pushover. The chief, gazing at the enemy's movements on the large screen, his eyes growing ever more resolute, stood up, his back ramrod straight. Our great Yangtze, from ancient times to the present, has always been the center of world politics, economy, and culture. We Yangtze people are proud. How can these petty villains shake the descendants of the dragon? Perhaps our eastern dragon has been asleep for too long. Next, let the world see our true strength. I order an immediate counterattack against these villains. Instantly, the highest conference room resounded with enthusiastic applause. For many years, the once bullied nation has stood up. This time, let Yangtze stand again at the true pinnacle of the world. Subsequently, large-scale gatherings began at several important military bases in western and southern Yangtze, and the true ultimate weapons unveiled their mysterious veils. Just after the war orders were issued, the secretary came to the conference room and whispered a few words in the chief's ear. The chief's face immediately revealed joy and shock, so he quickly ordered. Quickly, let Chang Shun come in and have him tell everyone about Chen Yu's matter. The secretary obeyed and then withdrew from the highest conference room. Health Minister Zhang Changshun strode in. His face was filled with excitement and ecstasy. Changshun, quickly tell us about Chen Yu's virus research. The chief asked impatiently. After Zhang Changshun greeted the dozen or so top leaders of Yangtze present, he excitedly said. I just received news from Global Technology that Chen Yu completely cracked the genetic code of this virus in less than 2 days. He and Professor Chen Qingzi have already developed a special medicine to treat the virus, and the vaccine will also be developed within the next 2 days. Our Yangtze is saved. As soon as Zhang Changshun said this, the super bosses in the entire highest conference room all excitedly slapped the table, so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. Chen Yu once again shocked everyone. He has helped Yangtze time and time again, and now he has saved the lives of billions of people, saving a country. The chief pressed down with both hands, and the bosses controlled their excitement and waited for the chief's instructions. Ha ha ha, as expected of Chen Yu, I knew he wouldn't sit idly by. He is a hero of our Yangtze. The chief's voice was somewhat excited. Yes, Chen Yu has brought us too many benefits to Yangtze, we must thank him handsomely. I suggest awarding Chen Yu the highest national honor and publicizing Chen Yu's spirit throughout the country. This is the good son of our Yangtze. As for rewards, Chen Yu lacks nothing now, so I suggest giving his company all-round support at the national level. Li Zhenfeng, Su Chongqing, and militaries put forward their opinions on Chen Yu's reward. The chief said with a smile. Haha, yes, 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 Chen Yu saved Yangtze, no matter what he wants, we must do our best to satisfy him. Pass down the order and let the best pharmaceutical groups and vaccine manufacturing companies in the country fully cooperate with Chen Yu in developing special medicines and vaccines. Then, Major media outlets will quickly publicize the matters related to special medicines to dispel public panic about the virus. Health Minister Zhang Chongshun accepted the order. Okay, Chief, I will arrange it immediately and will definitely produce the special medicine as quickly as possible. Good, now that we have no worries, let's give those countries that are targeting our Yangtze a painful lesson. Yesterday, the Sakura country was the first American dog to fire, and none of their missiles hit their targets. So today, let them taste how powerful and accurate Yangtze's missiles are. After receiving the order, the missile launch wells in several coastal military bases in the east were opened one by one. These missiles are Yangtze's self-developed hypersonic missile DF-17, with a range of 4,000 kilometers, which can cover the entire territory of the Sakura country. The fastest speed is Mach 15, and it is currently difficult for Earth's anti-missile missiles to intercept it. It has all-weather strike capability. The nuclear version can carry a nuclear warhead with a maximum equivalent of 3 million tons of TNT, which is enough to destroy a city. The conventional version can carry up to 750 kilograms of TNT, which can instantly destroy a block. It is more than appropriate to use this conventional version of the missile to strike important targets in the Sakura country. Without any hesitation, in the eastern coastal military base, a series of flames soared into the sky, aiming directly at the Sakura country. At this moment, in the military strategic office of the Sakura country, Sakura Prime Minister Kamidashun Tanabe, and the Chief of Staff of the Self-Defense Forces, looked at the radar screen and fell into deep fear. Baga! Yangtze actually dares to fight back. Immediately activate the Sakura country's nationwide anti-missile system and contact the American Pacific military base to have them immediately launch interceptor missiles to support us. Tanabe Kamidashun roared. Chapter 119. The Prime Minister of Sakura country was full of confidence and began to deploy an interception plan. However, the high-level officials of the Sakura military beside him had unsightly expressions. They were more knowledgeable and knew how powerful the missiles launched by Yangtze this time were. The Chief of Staff looked at Tanabe Kami-eyed with a helpless and fearful expression. Mr. Prime Minister, according to radar measurements, Yangtze launched a hypersonic missile with a speed exceeding Mach 10. Our missile interception system is the Patriot 3 missile provided by the United States, which can only intercept at the terminal stage within the nearest 50 kilometers, and can only intercept targets at Mach 6 at the fastest. Therefore, the interception rate of the missiles launched by Yangtze this time will not exceed 30%. Tanabe Kami-eyed fell into despair. He once believed that he had the support of the Northern Alliance, with the United States and European powers backing him. Even if they attacked Yangtze, they would not dare to fight back. He did not expect that Yangtze would attack them first. It was indeed a long-standing feud. Tanabe Kami-eyed immediately ordered. Contact the United States and ask them to launch interceptor missiles to help us destroy Yangtze's missiles. The Chief of Staff said awkwardly again. Mr. Kami-eyed, have you forgotten? The US military bases in Asia have all been withdrawn. Their nearest military base to us is in Hawaii, 3,000 kilometers away from us. By the time their missiles arrive, we will have been riddled with holes. Tanabe Kami-eyed's body softened suddenly. He now realized. He was being used as a pawn by the United States. It turned out that the United States had no time to care about their life or death. No, we can't sit still and wait for death. Immediately use the dedicated line to contact the Yangtze Supreme Command. I want to negotiate with them. Immediately, the staff began to contact Yangtze. At this moment, in the highest conference room in Yanjing, the secretary took a special communicator and came to the chief and said respectfully, Chief, this is a call from the Prime Minister of Sakura. The chief showed a playful expression, took the communicator, and clicked the answer button. Tanabe Kami-eyed's awkward Chinese sounded inside. Respected big brother, this is Tanabe Kami-eyed. I shook hands with you at the Asian Economic Summit last time. Oh. Kami-eyed, why are you calling me? The chief said playfully. Tanabe Kami-eyed didn't care about the chief's contemptuous tone and said respectfully. Big brother, please be sure to change the trajectory of your missiles. Our Sakura country will be very grateful. Yesterday's attack was our fault. We are willing to offer compensation with sincerity. Ha ha ha, Kami-eyed, do you think it's useful for you to beg me now? When you fired the first shot yesterday, why didn't you think of this ending today? Is it because Yangtze is too weak, or are you too confident? Our strength is not what it used to be, and everyone can see it. Now you are suffering the consequences, so don't blame others. The chief's playful and sarcastic tone made Tanabe Kamiide's expression twitch, but he still had to smile. Big brother, we really know we were wrong. Please show mercy. Our Sakura country is a small island country and cannot withstand so many missile bombings. Please order to change the missile trajectory, please. When Tanabe Kamiide said this, he instinctively bent down and bowed, as if the chief could see it. However, his actions were destined to be in vain. The moment he ordered the attack on Yangzia, he was destined to be punished. Your Excellency Kamiide, you should ask your ally, the United States, for help. You must take these missiles. If you are not dead by then, we will proceed to the next step of consultation. Then, the chief hung up the phone impolitely. The beeping sound came, and Tanabe Kamiide's hand holding the communicator was shaking. He looked at the dense small dots on the radar screen, approaching their Sakura country, and felt extremely frightened. At this moment, the strategic office was pushed open by the Sakura military. The military personnel in camouflage uniforms, led by one, said urgently to Tanabe Kamiide. Prime Minister, please follow us to the underground air raid shelter. Those missiles from Yangzia are very likely to hit here. Tanabe Kamiide and a group of Sakura country's high-level officials rushed out of the office nervously and followed the military personnel to leave for the air raid shelter. All the high-level officials of the United States were staring at the radar map on the big screen. The dense small dots above were attacking their loyal dog, Sakura country. Damn it, Yangzia really dares to attack. Tell the Prime Minister of Sakura country that we and God are with them. Harrison could only use this comforting language to deceive those silly high-level officials in Sakura country. In the Huanyu Science and Technology Park, Chen Yu had already handed over the work of manufacturing the special medicine and vaccine to Chen Qingzi and his team. Now he wants to see how the current global war situation is and whether it is time for him to come on stage to harvest the world. Explain the name Tanabe Kamiide. The naming rules of Sakura country generally use the place of birth and who gave birth to the name. Then the meaning of this name is the turtle born by the field. Chapter 120. Chen Yu wanted to see the current global war situation, so he communicated with the intelligent AI in his mind. Intelligent AI, what's the situation with the United States and its lackey countries right now? Captain, take a look for yourself. Then, the intelligent AI projected an image onto Chen Yu's retina. Chen Yu clearly saw dense small dots in eastern Yangzia moving towards the Sakura country. Oh! The Yangzia military is finally taking action? Ha ha ha, if these missiles hit the Sakura country, it will be enough to give them a hard time. Yesterday, the Sakura country fired the first shot and was the first country to attack Yangzia, so today Yangzia is retaliating. Good, let's see what kind of retaliation the Yangzia military will take against these countries that bully us. If necessary, we can help the Yangzia military. Okay, Captain. Meanwhile, missiles from several military bases in eastern Yangzia were on their way to the Sakura country. In the southwest direction, India's attack began. One after another, Agni V long-range ballistic missiles were launched northward, heading towards Yangzia's mainland. Their target was actually the Sangzia Dam. It is unknown where these Indians heard that as long as they destroy Yangzia's Sangzia Dam, they can flood several downstream cities. Tens of millions of people would be homeless, and it could even cause over 1 million deaths in Yangzia. Once Yangzia suffers such a blow, the country will inevitably be in chaos. At that time, they would use a large number of ground forces to advance on the border, and Yangzia would not have enough combat power to take care of them. Then, relying on the powerful combat power of Indian soldiers, as well as the attacks of the United States and its allies, India would definitely be able to take over most of Yangzia in one fell swoop. Perhaps influenced by Western media and Indian media's erroneous reports about Yangzia, the Yangzia in the eyes of Indians is still similar to the Qing dynasty. In the eyes of the Indian people, their India is much more developed than Yangzia, so they don't take Yangzia seriously at all. Although Yangzia once beat them very painfully, the Indian people always have a mysterious self-confidence. This time, dozens of missiles launched directly locked onto Yangzia's southwestern military bases and the Sangzia Dam. Yanjing, in Yangzia's highest strategic conference room. When the chief and a group of Yangzia senior officials were watching the battle situation of the eastern missiles flying, an ear-piercing alarm sounded in the conference room. On the large screen, the strategic map was enlarged, and dozens of red dots also rose in the southwest direction. Defense Minister Su Chongqing said angrily. Damn it, those Indians actually cooperated with the United States. I don't know what benefits the United States promised them. What a jackal! The chief ordered. Immediately put several military bases in the southwest into full combat readiness, and then intercept all those Indian missiles. After we teach the dogs in the east a lesson, we will settle accounts with them. Su Chongqing took the order and quickly issued the chief's instructions to several military leaders. Soon, one after another new anti-ballistic missiles rose in several military regions in the southwest. In the air 50 kilometers away from Sakura country, a large number of anti-ballistic missiles took off within Sakura country, aiming directly at Yangtze's more than 100 DF-17 missiles. However, the anti-missile interceptor missiles in Sakura's hands are Patriot 3 air defense missiles provided by the United States, which can only intercept targets with a maximum speed of Mach 6. Yangtze's DF-17 hypersonic missile has a terminal flight speed of Mach 15. Even the world's most advanced anti-missile system, the White Bear country's S-500 anti-missile missile, has an interception rate of no more than 50%. Not to mention the castrated version of the Patriot 3 air defense missile that the United States sold to the Sakura country, it would be a blessing if it could intercept more than 30%. Therefore, one can only see the Sakura country's anti-missile missiles flying into the sky one after another, but hitting nothing. The first targets hit by Yangtze's missiles were the military port and military bases in western Sakura. Chen Yu had previously wiped out the Sakura country's warships, but Sakura was not discouraged. Its multiple military shipyards are stepping up the construction of warships, trying to restore its maritime strength. However, only 1 or 2 DF-17 missiles are needed to completely devastate the entire military shipyard, with flames soaring into the sky. Rumble! Rumble! Various explosions rang out within the Sakura country. Although the Sakura country sent many spies to Yangtze to survey important military targets. However, Yangtze is not a soft persimmon. In recent years, it has also figured out the important military targets within the Sakura country, including military industrial enterprises, weapons research and development units, and some strongholds of folk anti-Yangtze organizations, including the Forbidden Country Shrine. How to say, using a DF-17 missile to blow up the Forbidden Country Shrine is a bit of a waste. Yangtze would rather waste this missile to turn the memorial tablets of those Class A war criminals into ashes. At this moment, the Sakura country people who were worshipping those warmongers in the Forbidden Country Shrine saw white smoke streaking across the sky. They didn't know what was happening, and they all looked up at the sky, and then they only saw a small black dot falling from the sky, getting closer and closer. Immediately. Rumble!